was the longest distance in the world. For Lena, it was the ride up in this elevator. She stared at the floor numbers climbing on the digital display, her gaze so intense she felt she could burn a hole right through the screen. Lily, she thought, her hands clenched tight against her chest. I wonder if you even remember me. I never wanted to leave you. When I finally turned around, you were gone. Do you have any idea how much that destroyed me? A wave of panic and fear washed over her, a thick, dark fog. But within that fog, there was a single, stubborn ray of hope, of anticipation. Ding! The sound of the elevator's arrival chimed like an alarm, jolting Lena from her trance. Come on, Lena. She's right down the hall, Scarlett Vance said softly. Lena slowly lifted her head, a new resolve hardening in her eyes. No matter what happened, Lily was still her daughter. She had to face her looking her best. As they walked, motion-activated lights flickered on one by one, illuminating the hallway, as if to cheer her on. Taking a deep breath, Lena straightened her posture and glanced at Scarlett, who offered a supportive smile and a little fist pump. Thank you, Scarlett. Then she looked at the man on her other side, Damian Blackwood. His face was a complete blank. It was almost as if he'd met Lily before. I'm probably just overthinking it, she told herself. Lena raised her arm and rapped her knuckles on the apartment door. The door creaked open, and 3 figures appeared in Ethan White's line of sight. Can I help you? Ethan started, recognizing Scarlett from the university. But then his eyes fell on the woman next to her, and his brain short-circuited. It was an older version of Lily, with the same sharp features, but with striking, golden blonde hair. Ethan blinked, glanced back at the real Lily standing beside him, then leaned forward to get a better look at the woman at the door. What's happening? Why are there 2 Lilies? And isn't that guy next to her the weirdo from the airport? Before he could process it, a body blocked his view. At the same time, a hand grabbed the collar of his shirt from behind and pulled him back. Damien, what are you doing standing in front of me? Lena said, annoyed that he'd cut her off just as she was about to speak. Hey. Ethan looked back and saw Lily, her expression like ice, staring daggers at Lena. Her arms were wrapped tightly around him, a protective barrier against the strangers. Damien's glare shot toward Ethan. Kid, you better watch where you're looking. That was all it took. Lily's temper flared. She locked eyes with Damien. Maybe you should worry about your own mouth, sir. The air crackled with tension, thick with the smell of gunpowder. A single spark would set off a war. Just then, the coaches for both fighters stepped onto the field. Lena's hand shot out and viciously pinched the flesh at Damien's waist. How dare you talk to a kid like that? Shut up. Ethan reached up and gently patted Lily's head. It's okay, Lily. Calm down. The 2 of them stepped forward, offering apologetic smiles. Lena looked at the wary girl in front of her and offered the kindest smile she could muster. Then, her gaze shifted to Ethan. Hello, you must be Ethan White. Ethan nodded dumbly. I am. And you are. Lena placed a hand over her heart, a gentle smile playing on her lips. I'm Lily's mother. Lena. Lily's mother. Ethan's jaw dropped before the realization hit him. Of course. They look so much alike. Yes, Lena said. I have a lot I'd like to explain. Would be all right if we came inside. No, Lily started, her brow furrowed, but Ethan cut her off. Of course. Please come in. Thank you, dear. Lena gave Ethan a grateful nod, then shot a glare back at Damien, who was still locked in a silent standoff with Lily. The look was a clear command. Behave. Scarlett, wisely staying out of the family drama, followed Lena inside. Ethan showed Lena to the couch, then went to sit on the opposite one. Lena looked at Lily with hopeful eyes, but Lily ignored her completely, squeezing onto the same cushion as Ethan. Lily, what are you? Ethan had assumed Lily would sit with her mother, leaving him a free spot. Lily didn't say a word. She just wrapped her arms around Ethan's shoulders and buried her face in his chest, her body trembling. Damien let out a soft scoff. He knew exactly what she was doing. She was terrified this boy was about to hand her over, and her sense of security had vanished. It's all right, Lena said, trying to soothe the situation, though her own heart was sinking. I can see she likes you very much. She's just a little shy around new people, Ethan said, embarrassed. He quickly changed the subject. Ma'am, can you tell me why you left Lily at the children's home? The question was a key that unlocked a flood of painful memories. Tears began to stream down Lena's cheeks. I never wanted to, she sobbed. It all happened like this. As Lena recounted the events of that day, more than a decade ago, Ethan's initial anger and confusion slowly melted away, replaced by a weary understanding of the truth. So that's what happened, Ethan murmured, nodding slowly. It wasn't that Lena didn't love her daughter. She had hidden her away to protect her. But by the time it was safe to return, Lily was already gone. Lena looked at Lily, who was still buried in Ethan's arms, refusing to move. The sight was a knife in her heart. I'm so sorry, Lily. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. Ethan stroked Lily's hair, saying nothing. This was between a mother and her daughter. He couldn't interfere. The final decision had to be Lily's. Suddenly, he felt a damp spot spreading on his shirt. Is she crying? Finally, Lena let out a long, defeated sigh. It's okay. Just seeing that she's living a good life now. That's enough for me. She reached into her purse and began pulling out a pile of cards and documents. This is an unlimited black card. It works anywhere in the world. This is the deed to a villa I just bought here in Northridge. I don't have anything else to offer. I failed to take care of her. I just hope that you'll continue to stay by her side. She's one of the most important people in my life. A small smirk played on Damien's lips. This outcome suited his desires perfectly. Good. Now Lena is all mine. With that, Lena rose weakly to her feet. She reached out and gently stroked Lily's hair. Lily, Mommy loves you. As the words left her lips, all the energy seemed to drain from her body. She turned to leave. Hearing this, Ethan leaned down and whispered in Lily's ear, See, Lily? It's not just me. There's someone else in this world who loves you, too. Whatever you choose, I'll be right here with you. Lily slowly pulled away from Ethan. Her face was streaked with tears. She had been crying silently the whole time. Thank you, Ethan, she whispered. I know what to do now. She leaned in, gave him a soft, quick peck on the lips, and then ran towards Lena, throwing her arms around her from behind. Damien moved to intervene, but Scarlett suddenly stepped in his path. Moo! What? Scarlett retorted. Are you seriously jealous of your own daughter? What kind of man are you? Oomph. Damien huffed, turning his head to stare at a random spot on the wall. Mom. Lily managed, the word feeling foreign and strange on her tongue, a name she never thought she'd say in her life. Hearing it, Lena's composure shattered. A fresh wave of tears streamed down her face as she spun around and pulled Lily into a fierce, desperate hug. Lily, oh, my daughter. And just like that, a mother and daughter, separated for nearly 2 decades, were finally reunited. Watching them, Ethan couldn't help but smile. Everything's going to be okay, he thought. Isn't it? Not wanting to intrude on their moment, Ethan stepped out onto the balcony. He watched the sun begin to set, its warm glow painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. So this is it, he murmured to himself, the golden light warming his face. This is why I was brought to this world, isn't it? After a few minutes, another figure joined him on the balcony. Ethan turned and saw it was the man from the airport. Now it all made sense, why he had reacted so strongly to seeing Lily. He must be Lena's partner. Out of politeness, Ethan extended a hand. Hello, sir. Damien completely ignored the gesture, his expression one of pure disdain. How much will it take for you to leave her? Ethan's face changed in an instant. He narrowed his eyes. I'm sorry, what did you just say? Damien let out a cold laugh. I said, name your price to walk away from Lily. Or maybe there's some other wish you have. I can make anything happen. I'm sorry, sir, but Lily and I are in love. I don't want anything from her. Ethan replied, his polite tone gone, replaced by a cold fury. As you know, my Lena very much wants to live with her daughter. So I plan on taking Lily back to live with us as a family of 3. But for some reason, my daughter seems to be completely enchanted by you. And my investigation shows that up until this past year, you never gave her the time of day. Damien's voice was full of condescending confidence. So what exactly made you do a complete 180 and get together with my daughter? Tell me your real motive. Ethan just shook his head, a smirk on his face as if he were watching a clown perform. Fine, but are you sure you can give me what I want? Seeing Ethan drop the pretense, Damien didn't bother with it either. Name it, he said arrogantly. If it exists in this world, I can give it to you. I want to marry Lily and have kids. Are you screwing with me? Damien's rage flared, and he clenched his fists. I'm just telling you what I want, Ethan said with a shrug, holding his hands up. Don't you dare try to measure my love for Lily with your pathetic money and power. Damien fell silent, just staring at Ethan. As Ethan turned to leave, he saw Lily rushing towards him. She planted herself in front of him, gritting her teeth as she glared at her father. What do you think you're doing to my Ethan? Oomph. Damien let out another cold snort and stalked back into the apartment. The moment he was gone, Lily threw her arms around Ethan. Ethan, are you okay? What did he say to you? I'm fine, Ethan said, scratching his head with a goofy smile. He was just asking me a few questions. Anyway, are you and your mom done talking? MHM. A blissful smile spread across Lily's face. Mom told me everything, and I told her how much I like you. Oh, and what did she say? Lily wrapped her arms around his neck and whispered conspiratorially, Mom told me she thinks you're a good person. and that she's very grateful to you. Well, that's a relief. Getting his future mother-in-law's approval meant things were pretty much a sure thing. But my mom also said, Lily trailed off. Said what? She said Ethan needs to eat more goji berries. And bullwhip. That was definitely you who said that. Hee hee, you caught me. Ethan, I've asked Mom to stay for dinner. Let's go back inside. Okay. The two of them were about to head in when there was a sudden clatter. A dagger had fallen from inside Lily's skirt. Lily, what's? Lily gave him a sheepish grin as she quickly scooped up the dagger and hid it away. I was just going to use this to scale the fish for dinner. I put it there for a second. The excuse was flimsy at best, but she couldn't very well admit she carried it in case she ran into an extreme situation and needed to kill someone to silence them. When Damien re-entered the living room, Lena and Scarlett were chatting and laughing. Scarlett, don't you think Ethan and Lily make a cute couple? I think so. I heard from their teachers at school that he's a pretty decent kid. Yes, and Lily told me how much she likes him. From the look on her face, I could see she feels something indescribable for him. And that feeling, it's a little familiar. Oh, Damien walked over and wrapped his arms around Lena from behind. What kind of feeling? Seeing Damien, it dawned on Lena. That was it. The feeling was exactly like Damien's possessiveness, maybe even stronger. Could it be? What's wrong, Lena? You look like you've seen a ghost. And nothing. Lena shook her head, then glanced worriedly towards Ethan. Her eyes were filled with a strange empathy, as if she had just found a fellow soul in suffering. Ethan, Lily placed her hands on his cheeks, her expression deadly serious. You have to be careful of that man. I have a bad feeling about him. He's not right. Yeah, I've already figured that out. Don't worry, Lily. I'll be on my guard, Ethan said, glancing over at Damien. For some reason, the man felt familiar, like someone he saw all the time in his daily life. But that was impossible. They'd never met before today. When they returned to the living room, Lena immediately waved Ethan over. They seem so in love, she thought. And he seems like a good kid. Ethan, come sit over here with me. Lena's words were like a command prompt, activating two programs at once. Damien's arm shot out, pulling Lena into his embrace. His eyes, now a startling shade of red, locked onto her. Lena, darling, you're playing a very dangerous game. At the same time, Lily stepped in front of Ethan, her earlier smile gone, replaced by a severe expression. Mother, please don't do that, she said to Lena. Otherwise, I can't guarantee I won't do something extreme. Ethan looked from Damien's blood-red eyes back to Lily's. Her normally pale blue irises had turned the same terrifying crimson. It finally clicked. That's why he felt so familiar. Lily and this guy, they're the same kind of crazy. Damien's brow furrowed as he glared at Lily. Oh, and what, precisely, is my daughter planning to do to my Lena? Lily glared right back, not yielding an inch. Seeing the atmosphere reach a boiling point, Scarlett quickly intervened. All right. It's getting late. Isn't it about time for dinner? Right. Ethan and Lena said in unison. Lily, I'm starving. / Damien. I'm hungry. Let's eat. After a good deal of persuasion, the two finally stood down. When it was time to cook, Lena took the lead, first calming Lily down until she was back to normal, then chatting with her as they prepared the food. So, it seems you really like Ethan, huh? MHM, Lily answered, her head down as she chopped a carrot. Ethan is my salvation. He's my light in this world. I see. Lena nodded. So, Lily, would you like to come back and live with me? No, Lily pouted. I like you, Mom, but I don't like him. Lena knew exactly who him was, and it gave her a headache. Damien didn't seem to care about Lily at all. He even bickered with his own daughter. It was infuriating. I'm sorry, Mom, Lily said, turning away and putting down her knife. I lost control earlier. No, you didn't. Lena wiped her hands and held her arms open, an invitation for a hug. Lily's heart trembled. She slowly walked into her mother's embrace and rested her head on her shoulder. You did that because you treasure Ethan so much, right? Lily nodded. See? That's perfectly normal. I was just so focused on telling Ethan about your past that I lost my sense of propriety. That was my mistake. Thank you, Mom. As Lily hugged her mother, a warmth she recognized as familial love began to fill the cracks in her heart. Suddenly, Lena narrowed her eyes, shooting a warning glare over Lily's shoulder at Damien, who had been watching them. He scowled and quickly looked away. So, Lily, Lena said, her tone turning mischievous. Can you tell me when you and Ethan are getting married? Huh? And married? Lily's face instantly flushed beet red, and she twisted her hands together, unsure how to answer. That's right. You're not getting any younger. It's about time, don't you think? Lena rested her chin on her hand, her eyes sparkling with anticipation as she tempted her daughter. Don't you want to see the fruits of your and Ethan's love? I'm sure Ethan will be very happy. Oh, really? Lily's eyes turned a shade of pink as her mind filled with images of herself walking down the aisle toward her Ethan. Lena said, stroking her daughter's head. It really is that simple, she thought. Just mention that boy's name, and she's happy. What kind of magic does he possess? Okay, I understand. Lily pulled away from Lena, ran to the refrigerator, and pulled out the giant, horrifying object that made Ethan's blood run cold. Lena's face paled. Lily, where did you get that? This is Ethan's charging station, Lily said, licking her lips. I was originally planning to build his stamina up slowly, but then I realized I couldn't wait. So, I figured let's just go straight for the strong stuff. Is this really my daughter? Lena blinked, struggling to accept that her sweet, innocent girl was secretly a heavyweight champion of obsession, on par with Damien himself. Lily, Lena asked weakly, is this how you always cook? Oh no, I've never used this before. Usually I just make Ethan things like goji berry and kale oatmeal, goji berry superfood smoothies, chilled goji berry salad, and other diverse, healthy dishes. Lily puffed out her chest with pride, as if boasting about her culinary prowess. HSSSK. In the living room, Ethan clutched his side, his brow furrowed. Weird. Why does my side hurt all of a sudden? Is it from staying up too late? Lena clasped her hands together and said a silent prayer for Ethan. That poor boy. He suffered so much. Maybe handing Lily over to him was the right choice after all. It sounds like you've put in a lot of effort for Ethan. MHM. Lily swallowed hard. Yes, a lot of effort. While Damien was resting with his eyes closed, Ethan suddenly approached him. Sir, can I ask you something? Damien slowly opened his eyes and looked at Ethan. Why can't you be nicer to Lily? Ethan asked, his voice full of indignation. Your attitude and Lena's are polar opposites. She's your own daughter. How can you be so careless with her? Oh, and what point are you trying to make? Seeing Damien's completely unfazed expression, Ethan couldn't help but clench his fists. I'm saying that Lily has been through a lot of hardship, and you, as her father, haven't even offered her the most basic comfort. What right do you have to call yourself a father? A twisted smile crept onto Damien's face. He looked at Ethan and said, slowly and deliberately, Ethan White, Northridge native, no record of illness during childhood, grew up in a sheltered environment, for the most part, until elementary school, when a certain girl shattered his peaceful life. You know who that girl is, don't you? How? How does he know so much? Ethan's face was a stony mask as he stared at the man who seemed to see right through him. Did you investigate me? Damien ignored him, continuing his monologue. According to my sources, you disliked Lily from a young age. So why the sudden, drastic change of personality in your senior year of high school? Why turn around and get together with the girl you'd hated for years? I saw the light, Ethan explained, his mind racing. I thought about it carefully and realized Lily is the most important person in my life. It was the only excuse he had. The truth about his reincarnation had to remain a secret known only to Lily. The light? Huh. Damien's expression darkened, and a palpable aura of power, of a predator, washed over Ethan. Do you take my daughter for a toy? Something you can play with and then discard whenever you feel like it? The fact that I'm only giving you a cold shoulder is me exercising my utmost restraint. If Lily didn't love you as much as she does, I, Damien Blackwood, guarantee you would not see a second sunrise. Hearing this, a small smile finally broke through Ethan's tense expression. So, it's not that he doesn't love Lily. He just has a different way of protecting her. Is this what they call a high-level tsundere? Understanding Damien's true feelings, Ethan's resentment vanished. He boldly sat down right next to Damien, his tone suddenly polite. You can rest assured, sir. I, Ethan White, will love only Lily for the rest of my life. Huh, is this kid an idiot? The sudden change in demeanor was so whiplash-inducing that even the deeply calculating Damien was thrown for a loop. What he didn't know, of course, was that this Ethan was not the original owner of the body. You'd better watch yourself. The moment I find a single flaw, your end will be tragic. But it's not too late to back out now. Sorry, sir. The word regret isn't in my dictionary. TCH. Damien shot Ethan an annoyed look, and at the same time, he noticed Lily, who was supposed to be chopping vegetables, tilting her head and staring at him with wide, unblinking eyes, a large knife held loosely in her hand. My God, my daughter. Why did I give her to a punk like... Wait, why does she have the same personality as me? For the first time in his life, Damien Blackwood hated himself. Mom, can I go take a break? Lily walked over to Lena. Lena tasted a spoonful of the fish soup and nodded. Of course. Go spend some time with Ethan. Your Aunt Scarlett and I can handle the cooking. Scarlett shot Lena a sideways glance. Are you sure I can cook? You're asking an underground queen whose only kitchen utensils are a gun and a silencer to talk about cooking? Okay. Lily nodded and walked over to Ethan. The moment she approached, Damien shot up from his seat and retreated to the kitchen. As he passed Lily, he could feel the waves of pure hatred radiating from her. Sigh. Being a father is hard, he thought. And watching your little girl get carried off by some punk is even harder. As soon as Damien left, Lily bounced over to the couch, wrapped her arms around Ethan's, and rested her head on his shoulder. You seem very happy, Lily. I have my mom, and I have Ethan. I'm so happy. She beamed, looking impossibly cute. All of this was worth it. So worth it, right? Not a single mention of your dad. Taking advantage of the moment, Ethan leaned over and secretly kissed her forehead. I have you, Lily, and that makes me happy too. Lily intertwined her fingers with his, her lips pursed. You coming into this world was like an angel sent from heaven just for me. Without you, I wouldn't be here today. So, Ethan, I love you. And aren't you my salvation too? Ethan pulled her into his embrace, his heart filled with emotion. After all this time, his plan to heal her was finally a complete success. Heaven really does reward the persistent. But most of all, he thought, I have to thank my own stamina. You worked hard these past few days. He remembered the first time he met this version of Lily, how she'd scared him half to death. But now, as long as he managed things carefully, she would always be this safe, secure version of herself. Dinner's ready. With Scarlett bringing the last dish to the table, the first family dinner of Lily's life officially began. Wow, the aroma made Ethan's mouth water. You and Lily are amazing cooks, Lena. Hey. Scarlett slammed her hand on the table indignantly. I made a huge contribution, you know? She pointed to a dish of scrambled eggs and tomatoes. I made that. You kid coming to praise my masterpiece. Ethan's chopsticks froze midair. He stared at the plate of blackish, sinister-looking goo, from which a skull-shaped plume of smoke seemed to be rising. If I eat this, I'll die, right? Ethan, eat this. Lily placed a tender slice of meat in his bowl. Saved by the bell. Gratefully, Ethan ate the meat and his eyes widened in surprise. Delicious. Lily, what kind of meat is this? It's amazing. Lily bit her chopstick, her eyes full of anticipation. It's beef if you like it. You should eat more. She reached out and added several more slices to his bowl. Whoa, that's enough, Lily. Lena and the others haven't eaten yet. Lena stared at the beef Lily was serving and fell into a deep, troubling thought. She quickly waved her hands. You eat, dear. I'm on a diet lately. She then pretended to be full, dabbing her mouth with a napkin. As she did, she saw Damien sitting next to her, staring at her intently. Damien, what? What is it? Why are you staring at me? Damien looked at the dishes on the table, then back at his own empty bowl. The meaning couldn't have been more obvious. He wanted her to serve him. Look at you, a grown man, and you still need me to serve you, Lena grumbled, but she still picked up some food and placed it in his bowl. Damien promptly dumped all the food from his bowl into hers, then began eating from her bowl with great relish. Scarlett watched the scene unfold, completely stunned. On one side, she had Lily and Ethan's lovey-dovey spectacle. On the other, Damien's completely insane power move. Was anyone supposed to be able to eat in this house? After dinner, Ethan volunteered to wash the dishes. In the end, under Lena's persuasion, Damien was forced to go help him. Seeing the two of them getting along, Lena clapped her hands, satisfied, and pulled Lily and Scarlett aside to talk about girl stuff. Damien stood at the sink, watching Ethan wash while using his body to block Lena's line of sight, preventing her from discovering he wasn't doing a thing. Ethan didn't say anything. After all, Damien was a guest, and more importantly, his future father-in-law. Kid, Damien said suddenly, from this day forward, the moment I find you doing anything to hurt Lily, or the moment I catch you showing your true colors, I, Damien Blackwood, will never let you go. Staring into Damien's terrifying, blood-red eyes, Ethan didn't react. To him, the words meant something else entirely. Kid, you seem okay for now, but if you aren't good to Lily, you can forget about being with her. So, that was a reluctant acknowledgement, right? Okay, sir. You can rest assured. No matter how dangerous things get, I will always protect Lily. By the time their conversation was over, Ethan had placed the last dish in the cabinet. Phew, done. He wiped his hands on a nearby towel and headed back to the living room. The moment Lily saw him, she scooted over to be close to him. What were you guys talking about just now? Ethan asked. Lily blinked. Ethan, do you remember this? She pulled a small, carved ruby charm from around her neck. The charm. Ethan pulled out his own matching charm. Is this related to the old woman at the corner store? Lily nodded and fitted the two halves of the charm together, a wide smile on her face. You might not believe this, Ethan, but the old woman who helped me. Her sister is the one who helped my mom and me all those years ago. No way. That's such a coincidence. Even Ethan was stunned. That kind of plot point only happened in novels. He couldn't believe it was happening in real life. Yes, I really have to go thank that old woman at the corner store, Lena said, her voice filled with regret. But the grandmother who helped me, she's long gone now. What a shame, Scarlett said sadly. Ahem. Damien interrupted them, his voice cold. It's getting late, Lena. We should be heading back. Damien, Lena said suddenly. Can we stay in a hotel nearby for a few days? No. Damien's refusal was sharp and absolute. He walked over to Lena, grabbed her wrist, and whispered, Lena, do you have any idea how much slack I cut you today? I think you're getting carried away, constantly defying me like this. Lena bit her lip, then stretched up and whispered in his ear, Damien, if you agree to let me stay for a few more days, I'll agree to anything you want tonight. Her voice grew smaller and smaller, and her cheeks flushed red. Deal. Damien answered instantly. He released her wrist, said, I'll go book the room, and walked out to the balcony to make a call. Scarlett, curious, sidled up to Lena. Hey, what did that bastard say to you? You don't look so good. And nothing. Lena managed, forcing a smile. Unbeknownst to them, Lily had heard the entire exchange. But she didn't react. Because, to her, the most important thing was still her delicious Ethan. She had personally witnessed him devour that entire plate of beef. Now, she was just desperately hoping everyone would leave soon. Otherwise, all that stored-up energy would go to waste. What a shame. After a little more idle chat, Lena finally announced they were leaving. Lily and Damien both let out a simultaneous sigh of relief. At the door, Lena gave Lily a reluctant, tearful hug. Lily, if you need anything in the future, you have to tell me, you hear? I'll come to your side without a moment's hesitation. Okay, thanks, Mom. Click. As the door closed, through the final crack, Damien saw Lily's eyes narrow into a predatory slit. It was the look of a hunter waiting for its prey. After seeing Lena's group off, Lily's expression turned chillingly calm. She circled around behind Ethan. He locked the door and was about to turn around when he felt a tug on his pants. The elevator descended slowly and the doors opened, letting the three of them out of the apartment building. Scarlett was about to link arms with Lena when Damien grabbed her by the collar and tossed her aside. Damien, what the hell is your problem now? Scarlett snarled, looking like an enraged puppy. I'd say you've overstayed your welcome. Shouldn't you be getting back to managing your underground club? That's none of your business. I'll go back when I feel like it. You think you can control me? I can't, but other people can. Just then, Scarlett's phone rang. When she saw the caller ID, she exploded. Damien, you bastard. Please, you run the criminal underworld. Don't pretend you're above a little dirty pool. Now go home and work on your skills. Oomph. Scarlett answered the phone. As expected, it was her father. Scarlett, what are you doing meddling with Mr. Blackwood's woman? Get your butt back here right now, or I'll shut down your club. Scarlett hung up and pointed a finger at Damien. You just wait, Damien Blackwood. After saying a few quick words to Lena, she stormed off. Well, now it's just the two of us, my dear Lena. Damien leaned in, inhaling the scent of her neck before pressing a kiss against her skin. Don't. Lena pushed his head away, her voice a barely audible whisper. At least wait until we get back to the room. Fine, but you'd better be prepared to help me blow off some steam, Lena. Do you have any idea how much of your willfulness I've had to tolerate today? I know. Good. I knew my Lena was an understanding girl. Damien wrapped his arm around her as she hung her head, leading her towards the hotel. Lily, what are you doing? Do you even need to ask, Ethan? I'm doing what needs to be done. Of course, Lily's body pressed against it from behind. She leaned in and gently nibbled on his earlobe. Tonight's feature presentation is a scene you used to love. Ethan had dawned on him. They were in the entryway. Ethan, do you know how to drive? Drive? Why are you asking that? Ethan asked awkwardly, considering his current situation had absolutely nothing to do with cars. I mean, I took lessons back in the day, but I've barely touched a wheel since. Oh, Lily purred, her voice full of meaning. Then you must know how to work a stick shift, right? She continued to kiss his earlobe. The hot breath against his skin was breaking down his defenses. Yeah, I know how to do that. Are you saying you want to learn? But there's no car here. Aren't you the car, Ethan? Lily's lips curled into a playful, wicked smile as she licked them and reached out her hand. And so, our student driver Lily Foster officially began her first lesson. Beep. The hotel room door clicked open, and Damien eagerly swept Lena into his arms and carried her inside. Lena gasped as the world blurred and she found herself on the bed. Seeing Damien's predatory gaze, she knew what fate awaited her. She surreptitiously slid towards the edge of the bed, planning to make a break for the bathroom the second he was distracted. But Damien had already seen through her little plan. He deliberately left a wide gap by the bed, waiting for her to take the bait. "Damien, could you please open a window? It's awfully hot in here," Lena said, fanning herself with her hand while her eyes darted towards the escape route. Of course, Damien agreed and walked towards the window. "Now's my chance." Lena seized the moment, ducking down and bolting for the bathroom. But in a flash, Damien had reversed course, wrapping his arms around her and lifting her into the air. Lena's legs flailed uselessly for a few seconds before she realized something was wrong. She turned her head and saw Damien standing right behind her. "And where do you think you're going, Lena?" I was just going to the bathroom." "Your eyes are telling me a different story, my dear." With that, Damien tossed her back onto the bed and began unbuttoning his collar. Seeing him advance like a hungry wolf, Lena was truly terrified. She scrambled backward on the bed, but she didn't realize that her futile retreat was only making him more frenzied. As Ethan White would later opine, if you can't escape, don't waste your energy trying. All it does is add to the hunter's fun. One had to admit, Ethan saw things clearly. "You were so bold today, Lena. I'm going to have to teach you a proper lesson." Damien tossed his jacket to the floor and pounced. Lily, pressed against the front door, turned her head to look back at him, her eyes filled with a smoldering affection as she whispered his name. Ding dong. The elevator doors opened, and a delivery guy stepped out. "One more delivery, and I can clock out," he muttered, holding a bag of takeout as he searched for the apartment number. The dim lighting in the hallway, combined with the flickering motion sensor lights, sent a shiver down his spine. "Man, I knew I shouldn't have watched that horror movie last night." He quickened his pace. Suddenly, as he passed one of the apartments, he heard a loud thumping against the door, as if someone was trying to get out. The scene immediately brought to mind a classic horror movie trope. He yelped, dropped the food at the customer's door, and sprinted for the exit. Help me." The delivery guy fled to the stairwell, fumbling with his phone to blast gospel music as he scrambled down the stairs. Lily's arms were wrapped around Ethan's neck, her body high above his as she looked down at him, her quick, shallow breaths washing over his face. "Lily, Ethan, beep beep." After reaching the building's entrance, the delivery guy unlocked his scooter and shot off into the night like a bat out of hell. The security guard watched him go and shook his head. Kids these days, always in such a rush. That night, something strange happened to Ethan. He felt a boundless well of energy. After he finished cleaning the entryway, he proceeded to deep clean the sofa, the bathroom, and the bedroom. It was a full-on spring cleaning. But even endless energy has its limits. Lily was draped over his chest, playfully poking his cheek. "Hee, you're still laughing." Ethan flicked her forehead. "Look what you've done." Lily tilted her head and pouted, looking at the chaotic mess around them. "Isn't this all your fault, bad Ethan?" "I was forced into it." Ethan grumbled, starting to tickle her mercilessly. "You'd better confess, Lily." Ha ha, Ethan. That tickles." Lily couldn't hold back her laughter and finally spilled the beans about her special dinner preparations. "So that's it." After hearing her explanation, Ethan finally understood the source of his manic energy. "It's not my fault. Ethan's the one who ate it all. Would I have eaten it if you hadn't made it? Are you telling me you had no ulterior motives?" "How is that an ulterior motive? It was a brilliant idea." Finally, after washing up, they returned to bed. As for the battlefield they'd left behind, that was a problem for tomorrow. It seemed the spring cleaning wasn't quite as thorough as he'd thought. Having expended so much kinetic energy, Ethan fell asleep the moment his head hit the pillow. Moonlight filtered through the window, faintly illuminating Lily, who was lying on her side. Her hair covered one eye, but her gaze was fixed on Ethan's face. In the soft light, she looked exceptionally beautiful, but a terrifying glint lurked in the depths of her eyes. "Ethan, I like you so much. I really, really like you more and more. It feels like a poison sinking deeper and deeper into my bones." Lily could feel an overwhelming desire taking control of her thoughts, but she was still trying to fight it. "Ethan, save me. I can't hold on much longer." She reached out a hand, stroking his face, tried to ground herself, but she was wrong. The moment her small hand touched his skin, her mind was completely conquered. Well, if you can't fight it, then don't fight it all." With that, Lily reached over and pulled the curtains closed. Full tummy. Sleepy time. Lily stretched lazily, planted a kiss on Ethan's cheek, and then expertly snuggled into his arms, finding a comfortable spot before finally settling down. As images of Damien and Lena floated through her mind, Lily's eyes opened. She seemed troubled. Truthfully, When she first learned that Lena was her mother, she hadn't felt much of anything. The concept of parents was too distant, too foreign. From the moment she could remember, she had been utterly alone. In those days, she felt like she was flailing in the middle of an ocean, struggling to stay afloat, but never breaking the surface. Eventually, she grew tired of fighting and simply let her body sink. But then, one day, a sudden vortex pulled at her motionless form. It was like a lifeline. Lily found a new surge of strength and began to swim upward with all her might. But when she came to her senses, she realized the vortex had nothing to do with her. It was just a random current, and she had merely drifted into its path. With that, her last glimmer of hope was extinguished. Fine, then she had thought. Maybe sinking to the bottom of the sea is the best ending for me. But just then, a hand suddenly grabbed her. She looked up and saw something that had no business being in the ocean, a figure materializing out of nowhere. "Do you want to see it?" the figure asked. "See what?" "The sky." "The sky? Is it beautiful?" "How will you know if you don't look?" "Then why aren't you looking at the sky?" "Because I want to look at you." And just like that, the hand was a beam of light, illuminating the dark, bottomless sea and gently pulling her toward the surface. She didn't know how long they swam. Countless storms and dangerous creatures tried to stop her ascent, but the hand shielded her from every danger. Suddenly, Lily stopped swimming. "What's wrong?" I don't want to go up anymore." "Why?" "Let's not go up, okay? Let's just stay here." I don't want to see you get hurt anymore." "But you still haven't seen the sky." "I don't want to see it." I just want you to stay with me. That's all I need." "But let's go back. Please." But the hand, battered and bruised, held on tight, continuing to pull her upward. Lily wanted to pull away, but she stopped herself. She couldn't bear to see him suffer any more wounds. As they got closer to the surface, the world around them grew clearer. "We're almost there." Why are you doing this?" "Didn't I tell you? I'm going to show you the sky." "Is the sky really worth all this?" "You'll know when you see it." And so, as the brilliant sunlight grew closer and closer, Lily's anticipation grew, until finally, with a splash, she broke through the surface. The warm sun bathed her face. The sea breeze gently caressed her cheeks, and the pure white clouds seemed to dance in celebration of her arrival. "See? I told you it was beautiful." "Yes, it's very beautiful." "Are you talking about the sky or the clouds?" "Neither." Lily shook her head, a blissful smile spreading across her face as she clutched the hand tightly. "It's you, under the sky. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Lily inhaled Ethan's scent, trying to calm her racing heart. What Ethan didn't know was that her reaction to Lena and Damien was all an act. In the deepest corner of her heart, there was only room for one person. She had only put on that show of surprise and acceptance because she didn't want to disappoint Ethan. Everything and everyone else was just decoration. "Good night, Ethan." Lily tilted her head up, gazed at his face for a long moment, and then, holding him tight, slowly drifted off to sleep. "Ugh, where am I?" Lena's eyes fluttered open. She was groggy, the previous night's event a blur. The only thing she could remember was Damien tossing her onto the bed. "Well, look who's awake." A magnetic voice purred in her ear. She looked up, and, sure enough, it was a perfectly relaxed Damien. NNGH. A wave of soreness washed over Lena's entire body. Her bones felt like they had been completely disassembled. "Don't you know how to be gentle with a woman?" "I'm sorry, Lena. I really did. But the moment I touch you, I lose all control. By the way, what are your plans for tomorrow?" Lena closed her eyes and thought for a moment. "First, I want to go to that corner store Scarlett mentioned and meet the old woman. I need to thank her in person for taking care of Lily." She paused. "And to see if she reminds me of the grandmother who helped me all those years ago." Damien stroked her hair. "Do you want to take Lily with you?" "No." Lena shook her head. "Let her spend more time with Ethan. I can see she really likes him." TCH. Damien's brow furrowed at the mention of Ethan's name. "What's wrong?" "From the very beginning, you haven't seemed to like that boy. I think he's very good to Lily." "You don't understand, Lena." Damien brushed a strand of hair from her lips and gently pinched her cheek. "You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't know a person's true nature just from their outward appearance. I think you're just paranoid. Ethan hasn't done anything to you, and he's shown nothing but unconditional love for Lily. Where are you getting all these conspiracy theories?" "Forget it. You'll understand eventually, Lena." Damien cut her off, pulling her into a tight embrace. "It's getting late. Let's sleep." "Okay. Good night, Damien." "Good night, Lena." After Lena was sound asleep, Damien slipped out onto the balcony and made a call. "Sir, what are your orders?" "I need you to find some people for me. We're going to put on a play." "A play?" What kind of star power are we talking, sir? A-list. Is that what I said? Damien hissed through gritted teeth. In a few days, I want you to pick a few men, and then... After hanging up, Damien stared at the distant apartment building, replaying Ethan's words from earlier in his mind. Let's see when you finally show your true colors. A sliver of morning light pierced through a gap in the curtains, landing directly on Ethan's eyes. NNGH. Ethan's eyelids fluttered. He went to roll over, but as he shifted, he realized something was missing from his side. His eyes snapped open, and he sat up, whipping his head back and forth, searching for Lily. When he saw she wasn't in bed, he called out towards the open bedroom door. Lily. Silence. A long moment passed with no response. Weird, where is she? Did she not hear me? Ethan quickly threw on some clothes and rushed into the living room. Everything was calm, exactly as they'd left it. Lily, he called out again. The only reply was the echoing silence. That's when the panic set in. He frantically searched every corner of the apartment, the bathroom, the spare bedroom, the balcony, but there was no sign of her. A thick, suffocating sense of dread coiled in his gut. He ran back to the bedroom, grabbed his phone, and with trembling hands, dialed Lily's number. Ring, ring, ring. The line went straight to voicemail. Lily. Ethan stared at the call-failed screen, his mind spiraling through 1,000 terrible possibilities. Was it him? The image of Damien Blackwood flashed in his mind. Did he take her? At the thought, his breathing became rapid and shallow. He pictured Lily being dragged away against her will. Lily. I will never let him take you. I'll die before I let that happen. I'll get you back. Clenching his fists, Ethan stormed to the front door and threw it open. Standing on the other side was a familiar figure. Huh? Ethan, what are you doing? Lily asked, tilting her head curiously. Oh, Lily. Ethan stared at her, his eyes wide with disbelief, his mouth hanging open as he trembled. What's wrong, Ethan? Yeah. Before she could finish, Ethan closed the distance in a single stride and crushed her in a hug, his heart hammering against his ribs so hard she could feel it against her own chest. After a long moment, Ethan's panic finally subsided. He pulled back, his expression etched with worry. Lily, where were you? Why didn't you answer my phone? I just went downstairs to buy breakfast, she said, holding up a bag of steamed buns and soy milk. See? Ethan stared blankly for a second, then took the bag and set it on the shoe cabinet. He pulled Lily inside and shut the door firmly. Ethan, what? MMPH. Before Lily could speak, his lips were on hers. Faced with his sudden assault, Lily seemed completely prepared, meeting his kiss with an expert defense, though she never moved to attack. Huh. When they finally broke apart, Ethan gazed at her, his voice thick with emotion. Lily, why didn't you answer your phone? Do you have any idea how worried I was? I'm sorry. Ethan. Lily pursed her lips and shrank back. My hands were full with the breakfast, and my phone was on silent from last night, so I didn't hear it. Don't ever do that again. You hear me? Ethan tapped her forehead gently as a reprimand. I won't, Phew. Ethan finally let out a long breath of relief. From now on, whatever you're doing, just give me a heads up. Okay? Otherwise, I'll worry. Okay. Lily stood on her tiptoes and pecked him on the cheek. Go rest, Ethan. Breakfast will be ready in a minute. Okay. Ethan stroked her head, his heart finally settling down as he walked into the bathroom. He didn't see the eerie smile that spread across Lily's face as she sat at the dining table, her chin propped in her hands, watching him go. Ding. A notification lit up Lily's phone, the Daily News alert. She swiped it away and put the phone back on the table. Oops, almost blew my cover, she muttered to herself with a soft giggle. Hiv. It seems my Ethan has a lot of potential. My long-term guidance is finally paying off. What Ethan didn't know was that his healing plan hadn't succeeded at all. In fact, he was slowly being drawn deeper and deeper into her web. Splash. The cold water on his face helped Ethan calm down. He gripped the sides of the sink, staring blankly at his reflection in the mirror. What the hell is wrong with me? Why am I so emotionally unstable? It's probably just because I was worried about Lily being taken away. Yeah, that has to be it. When he came out of the bathroom, he saw Lily sitting at the table, taking small bites of a steamed bun. Seeing him, she waved him over. MMPH Ethan. Common EB, she said through a mouthful of food. Careful, don't choke. Ethan walked over, pulled out a tissue to wipe a smudge of grease from the corner of her mouth, and held the cup of soy milk, with a straw already in it, to her lips. Drink some of this. Glug, glug, glug. A Lily patted her stomach, satisfied. I'm full. You should eat, Ethan. Okay. Ethan popped a small soup dumpling into his mouth. The rich chicken broth exploded on his tongue, mixing with the perfectly seasoned meat and chewy dough, instantly whetting his appetite. The only flaw was that the dumpling was a bit cool, as if it had been sitting out for a while. Huh? Didn't Lily just get back? Shouldn't these be steaming hot? Seeing the flicker of confusion on Ethan's face, Lily's expression shifted. I was a little late getting there today, she said casually. These are probably the last ones left, so they've been sitting for a bit. If they don't taste good, you don't have to eat them. Oh, that makes sense. The explanation was plausible enough to dispel his doubts. It was true that the breakfast stalls would be closing up around this time. What Ethan didn't know was that while he was asleep, Lily had been hiding in the stairwell, waiting like a shadow swallowed by the darkness. Seeing Ethan's expression, Lily knew she had to create a distraction. She pushed the cup of soy milk in front of him. You should have some soy milk too, Ethan. Thanks, Lily. Ethan reached for the cup, but found Lily was gripping it tightly. Lily, Ethan, I think the straw fell on the floor. It's fine, I'll just get down and... Don't. Lily interrupted. Let me get it. Ethan glanced at the perfectly intact straw still in the bag and fell into a deep, confusing thought. He was about to speak when suddenly... HSSS. This looks like the place. Lena stopped at the entrance to an alleyway, holding the note Scarlett had given her and looking up at the street sign. Now, where is this corner store? She peered around, but the sheer number of shops made it hard to spot. It's probably that one, Damien said from behind her. Lena followed his gaze, and, sure enough, tucked away next to the alley was a small, unassuming general store. That must be it. Are you coming in? Of course. Wherever you are, I am. Lena playfully slapped his shoulder, pouted, and walked in first. Jingle, jingle. The bell on the door chimed, and an old woman emerged from the back room. Welcome, can I help? The moment the old woman saw Lena, she froze. The reading glasses in her hand slipped and fell to the floor. Lily. The old woman hurried over, taking Lena's hands in her own. Lily, what a surprise to see you. Is everything all right? Before Lena could open her mouth, the woman continued. Lily, why did you dye your hair? Is it because of that boy? I think your natural color is beautiful. Grandma, I think you've misunderstood. Misunderstood? Yes, ma'am. I'm not Lily. I'm Lena, Lily's mother. Lily's mother? The old woman's smile vanished, replaced by a look of utter shock. She bent down, picked up her glasses, and took a closer look. The woman in front of her did look a little different from Lily. She was more mature, more sophisticated, not as vivacious and innocent as Lily. Hello, Grandma. Lena helped the old woman to a chair, her own eyes welling up with tears. She looks so much like her. She looks just like the grandmother who helped me when I had nothing. You're Lily's mother? The old woman asked again, the words of the well-dressed young woman from before finally making sense. Yes. Lena was about to wipe her eyes with the back of her hand when a tissue appeared in front of her face. She looked up and saw it was Damien. She took the tissue and dabbed her eyes. Thanks, Damien. Where did you get this? Damien glanced at the shelf next to him, then back at Lena. Just as Lena's opinion of him was starting to improve, she couldn't help but scold him. Are you shoplifting? You didn't even pay for that. It's no trouble at all, the old woman said quickly, changing the subject. Dear, you must be the mother my sister told me about. Yes, ma'am. Lena pulled a small rattle from her purse. The grandmother who helped me gave me this. It was a lifesaver whenever Lily cried. The old woman's eyes widened as she took the rattle in her trembling hands. This is the toy my sister used to make me laugh when I was a little girl, she said, her voice thick with nostalgia. I never thought I'd see it again. That sealed it. The old woman was now certain of Lena's identity, and the two of them quickly fell into easy conversation. Watching them talk and laugh, Damien slipped out of the store and into the alley, pulling out a cigarette. He noticed a scooter parked haphazardly, blocking the narrow passage, and frowned. Who parks like this? What if someone needs to get through? He walked over and moved the scooter to a better spot. Somewhere, an invisible narrator gave Damien a reluctant thumbs up. High noon. After lunch, at Lily's suggestion, they went to a large shopping mall for what was effectively a date. Hum, 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 Lily hummed a cheerful little tune, skipping along with her arm linked through Ethan's. The rhythm sounded suspiciously like the theme song for Captain Kidney Freeze. You're in a great mood today, Lily. What's the special occasion? Of course I'm happy. A small smile played on her lips. Seeing the changes in the people around me has made me very satisfied. Changes in the people around her? I get it. She saw how much her parents have changed and how much they love her, and it's given her a deep sense of happiness. They're really missing out by not having me on a reality TV genius show. Seeing Ethan's blissful expression, Lily knew without asking that he'd gone off on another one of his mental tangents. Which was fine. If her Ethan were too smart, he wouldn't be so easy to change. When it came to intellectual leaps, no one could beat the self-proclaimed emperor of overthinking, Ethan White. Let's go see a movie, Ethan. I heard there's a new one out called Our Names. The title had a certain raw, indie beauty to it. Ethan readily agreed. The movie wasn't important. The person he was watching it with was. They walked up to the ticket counter. Hi, welcome to Majestic Cinemas. Ethan glanced at the prices. Hi, 2 tickets for Our Names, please. Of course, one moment. The attendant gave him a professional smile and typed to the terminal. Sir, the next showing is in 15 minutes in Theater 1. Please select your seats on the screen. Okay. Ethan immediately picked 2 seats in the middle, the best for viewing. Since it wasn't a weekend, the theater was mostly empty, save for a few other students on break. After he paid, the attendant asked, would you like any popcorn or drinks with that? The sight of the popcorn machine triggered a flood of bad memories, and Ethan immediately refused. No thanks, we'll have 1 large popcorn and 2 Cokes, please, Lily interrupted. Right away. Huh? Ethan turned his head and saw Lily tilting her head, looking at him and blinking rapidly. Lily, you. Ethan isn't having any popcorn, but I am in no. You can't. What if you? Before Ethan could finish, Lily stood on her tiptoes and whispered in his ear, if Lily doesn't get any popcorn and gets hungry, she might have to eat a person instead. Please give me another large. Ethan's shout made the popcorn scooper jump. Oh, okay. Ethan, I thought you said you weren't having any. It's fine. If you're still hungry after yours, you can have mine. Thanks, Ethan. You're the best. To Ethan's surprise, once the movie started, Lily actually just watched the movie. He watched her munching on popcorn, her eyes glued to the giant screen, and the knot of tension in his stomach finally loosened. Looks like she really does like this movie. Reassured, he settled in and watched it with her. As the end credits rolled and the lights slowly came up, most of the audience stood up and left. Ethan was about to wake Lily, but he saw she was still staring at the screen, as if lost in thought. What's wrong? Something on your mind? Ethan, she said softly, since you came to my world, does that mean I'll get to go your world someday? What are you thinking about? Ethan gently pinched her soft cheek. Whether you go or not, I'm right here in front of you, aren't I? I'm still me. Hearing this, Lily's eyes lit up, as if a knot in her heart had come undone. She placed her hand over his, her eyes curving into a smile. You're right. As long as I have Ethan, that's all that matters. The movie's over. We should get going. Ethan stood up, but Lily pulled him back down. She glanced around, and seeing that they were alone, she held the popcorn bucket out to him. Lily, what are you? You didn't have a single piece of popcorn, Ethan. I ate it all, she said with a pout. You should at least have some. I'm not really hungry right now. Gulp. Lily grabbed a handful of popcorn, stuffed in her mouth, and mumbled, then I'll have to feed OO. Lily, what are you MMPH? Well, you're the one who bought 2 buckets. This is all your own fault, with that. Lily grabbed another handful. This time, Ethan made a silent vow. He would never, ever touch popcorn again. Phew, just as Damien was about to head back to the corner store, his phone rang. What is it? Sir, the guys are ready. What exactly is the job? In a few days, I want you to... Meanwhile, Lena was still at the corner store, chatting happily with the old woman. Thank you both for coming to visit an old woman like me. Grandma, don't say that. You're a great benefactor to our family. Are you sure you don't need us to help you renovate this place? Thank you for the kind offer, but I opened this shop to remember my late husband. I don't want to change a thing. The way it is now helps me think of him. All right then, but if you ever need anything, you have to promise to tell me. Lena handed her a piece of paper. This is my contact information. Please keep it. Okay. You're all such good people. It's getting late, Grandma, so we should be going, but I'll be back to visit again. Of course, dear. You're always welcome here. After watching Lena leave, the old woman smiled warmly. Sister, you can rest in peace now. The mother and child you helped all those years ago are finally reunited. Thinking of this, she went to replace the pack of tissues Damien had taken from the shelf, only to find a card sitting in the empty space. She picked it up and saw it was a black and gold credit card with a note attached. Thank you, Grandma, and your family for the help you gave my wife and child. Please accept this small token of our gratitude. The pin is all 6s. The old woman read the note, grabbed the card, and hurried to the door, but Lena and Damien were already gone. You people, she said, shaking her head with a helpless smile. She hobbled back inside. Damien, what were you doing outside just now? Lena asked curiously on their way back. Nothing, just getting some fresh air. Lena narrowed her eyes, as if trying to see right through him. Damien, are you hiding something from me? Why would I do that? Are you doubting me, Lena? Damien grabbed her hand and pulled her into his arms. Or could it be that my Lena is very concerned about me? We're in public. Lena gently pinched him and then ran off shyly. Damien shot a glare at a passerby who had stopped to watch. The man shivered and quickly walked away. Clatter, clatter. The old woman pulled down the rolling security gate, locked up her shop, and, carrying a small bag, slowly walked away. It was nap time at the Havenwood Children's Home, and a group of children were playing in the hallway. Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? A small, childish voice called from inside. Hello, little one. Could you please get your director for me? The director lady? I know her. A patter of small feet could be heard running away from the door. The director was in the middle of reading a story to another group of children. Once upon a time, there was a girl from a faraway land. She was very beautiful, with blue eyes and bright golden hair, and princes from many kingdoms fell in love with her. Before she could finish, a little boy raised his hand. Director, aren't our eyes and hair black? Not always. There are many different kinds of people in this world, and they all look different. But in the end, we are all part of the same world. Oh, I see. I wish I could be friends with them. Blue eyes. So pretty. The other children nodded in agreement. Just then, a round-faced little boy came running over, waving his arms. Director, what is it, Billy? Weren't you playing in the hall with the others? Billy blinked and pointed towards the main door. There's some at the door. I understand. Good job, Billy. The director patted the little boy's head, closed her book, and walked down the hall to the entrance. When she opened the door, she saw an old woman about her own age standing there. Hello, can I help you? You're the director of this children's home, correct? I am. And you are? The old woman pulled a black and gold card from her pocket and handed it to the director. This is a small donation. I hope you can use it to make the children's lives a little better. Huh. The director was taken aback. Usually large donations came from groups of people, not a single, ordinary-looking old woman. And with a credit card, of all things. Well, if that's everything, I should be going, the old woman said, waving a frail hand at the new director of the Havenwood Children's Home. Wait. The director gently caught her by the arm. At the very least, you have to tell me their names. The names? There were 4 of them. They were called. After the old woman left, the director stared down at the 4 names scrawled on the notepad she had been given, committing them to memory. Suddenly, one of them jumped out at her. Lily Foster. Lily Foster, she murmured, the name echoing with a strange familiarity. Then it hit her. That was the girl who had visited the home not too long ago. To think that she was one of them. The director carefully folded the note and tucked it away. She walked to the small memorial garden on the property, stopping before the simple plaque dedicated to the home's previous director. Did you see that, Mrs. Wagner? She whispered to the cold stone. The child you despised more than any other is the only one who ever came back to offer help. She let out a bitter little laugh. And the children you cherished, the ones you were so proud of. How many of them have come to visit you? How ironic. With that, she turned and walked slowly away from the garden. Phew. Lily blew gently on the piece of grilled steak, then held the skewer up to Ethan's mouth. Here, Ethan. Have a bite. I'm good, Lily, you eat. Before Ethan could finish, she'd already popped the meat into his mouth. Is it good? MMPHM. Ethan gave her a thumbs up. Delicious. Lily beamed, only then taking a happy bite for herself. So good. Steak that tastes like Ethan is the best kind of steak. Watching her eat with such obvious delight, Ethan couldn't help but smile. He hoped every day for the rest of his life could be just like this, happy and together with Lily. When they arrived back at their apartment building, they found Lena and Damian Blackwood standing by the entrance. Lily. Lena's face lit up, and she waved. A flicker of annoyance crossed Lily's face before being replaced by a brilliant smile. She bounced over and threw herself into Lena's arms. Mom. Lena stroked her daughter's hair. Were you and Ethan out having fun? We were. We want to see a movie. That's wonderful. Mom, is there something you needed? What? I can't come see my precious daughter without a reason. Lena teased, pinching Lily's cheek. Or is it that you wish no one would ever interrupt your quality time with Ethan? And no, that's not it, Lily mumbled, her face turning pink as she looked down shyly. Hee, I'm just messing with you. Lena let go. How would you like to go on a little trip with us tomorrow, just outside of Northridge? I might have to head back to the UK in a few days. You're leaving already? Lily's face fell. You're not staying to keep me company? Your father and I have some business to take care of back home. But I'll be back as soon as it's finished, okay? Okay. Lily pouted, her expression genuinely sad. So, do you want to spend the day with your mom tomorrow? Yes. Lily brightened instantly, running back to Ethan and linking her arm through his. Can Ethan come too? Of course, Lena said with a knowing nod. If she said no, there was no telling what her daughter might do. Then it's settled. You two get ready. I'll be waiting downstairs for you in the morning. Okay. Bye, Mom. As they turned to leave, Damien shot one last, lingering glance at Ethan. The show is about to begin. After they were gone, the smile on Lily's face vanished. She turned and wrapped her arm around Ethan's waist, guiding him into the building. Finally leaving, are you? It's so exhausting having to split my attention to deal with you two. It's kept me from properly making Ethan a part of me. As the elevator ascended, Ethan noticed Lily's head was buried in his side, her body trembling. Is she crying? He thought. Well, it makes sense. Her mom is leaving in a few days. Anyone would be sad. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders, patting her back gently. It's okay, Lily. You still have me. HM. Lily lifted her head, a soft, confused sound escaping her lips. She instantly realized he'd misunderstood, and her expression shifted. She threw herself into his arms completely. Stop. Ethan, I don't want my mom to go. Hee, the smell of Ethan. It's okay. As soon as we have time, we'll go visit her in the UK, all right? Oh, Ethan, you're the best. Silly girl. Who else would I be good to? The elevator doors slid open, and they walked to their apartment. Jingle jangle. Just as Ethan was digging in his pocket for his keys, two arms snaked around him, one over his shoulders, the other around his waist. Lily? What are you doing? I can't open the door like this. MMPH, she hummed, burying her face in his back and blissfully ignoring his words. Click. With some difficulty, Ethan managed to get the door open. He shuffled inside, Lily still clinging to him like a backpack. Ethan, cuddle, Lily demanded, her arms tightening as she pulled his head down. Huh? MMPH. MMPH. A sudden darkness enveloped him as a fragrant cloud descended, cutting off his sight and his breath. If someone offered me 3 seconds of light right now, his brain screamed, I'd turn it down. Blinded and disoriented, Ethan tried to get his arms around Lily to lift her, but it was like a blind man trying to describe an elephant. He couldn't make sense of anything he was touching. Huh? What's this? NGH. Lily's head tilted back, her eyes squeezed shut as her arms clamped even tighter around his head. MMPH. Wait, Lily. I can't. Breathe. They say a drowning man will thrash wildly, grabbing onto anything he can reach. And so it was. One of them clung desperately, the other clutched frantically. A few moments later, Ethan's arms went limp, and he stopped moving altogether. The end. Huh. Lily's lips were slightly parted, warm puffs of air escaping between them. A glistening, transparent thread connected her upper and lower lip. Ethan, she adjusted herself and looked down, only to find that Ethan had, at some point, passed out and was sleeping peacefully. Ethan, are you okay? Lily grabbed his shoulders and shook him, but he seemed to be in a temporary, oxygen-deprived coma. She checked his nose for breath and let out a sigh of relief when she felt the faint puff of air. She hauled him onto the bed and was about to head for a shower when she glanced back at him. Or maybe, I'll shower later. Licking her lips, her eyes narrowing mischievously, she crept back to his side. She reached out and gently stroked his face. My dearest sleeping prince, your Princess Lily has come to save you. The scene shifted. On a TV somewhere, a game show was playing. Contestants were riding a violently bucking mechanical bull, trying to see who could last the longest. Ethan was having a dream. In the dream, he was lying on a soft, sandy beach, bathing in the warm sun. Ah, a summer day at the beach really is the best. Suddenly, a massive shadow blotted out the sun. He opened his eyes to see a gigantic octopus rising from the sea. Tourists screamed and scrambled away, fleeing the beach in a panic. What? What is that monster? Watching the octopus crawl toward him, its tentacles writhing, Ethan's heart stopped. Run. I have to run. He shakily got to his feet, but his legs felt like they were glued to the sand. He couldn't move. Why is this happening? Just then, a tentacle whipped across the beach and wrapped firmly around his ankle. Ah! Ethan cried out as he was yanked to the ground. This is it. Is this really how I die? Buried at sea by a calamari nightmare. Before he could react, the tentacle coiled up his leg, around his waist, pinning his arms until he was completely powerless. Cough! I don't want to die. But the horrifying end he expected never came. Instead, a strange pressure spread through his body. It wasn't painful or uncomfortable. In fact, it felt relaxing, exhilarating even. What was going on? He groggily opened his eyes, and the giant octopus slowly morphed into a familiar human figure. Oh, Ethan, you're awake. Octo, wait. Lily. Ethan shouted, his eyes wide with shock as he recognized the person in front of him. Lily's face was flushed, her head tilted back, her hair cascading down like a hazy black veil. So it was just a nightmare. Ethan sighed in relief. But that strange, pleasant pressure hadn't gone away. He looked down, and his eyes widened in horror. LLLL Lily. WWW, what are you doing? "Shoo, Ethan, be quiet," she purred, collapsing onto his chest and capturing his lips in a deep kiss. Slurp. Now Ethan finally understood the octopus dream. It was because an octopus has suckers. MMPH. Wow. The zombie acting in this cartoon is so realistic, Zoe Reed marveled, clapping her hands. That low growl, that terrifying expression. It looks so scary. Leo King glanced at the screen and shook his head. If Crazy Dave heard you say that, he'd probably swap out his plants for a shotgun. Crazy Dave? Who's that? Just some botanist. Oh. Huh. Lily lay in Ethan's arms, her eyes lazily half closed. Lily, can you please not scare me like that anymore? I just had a nightmare because of you. Hee, she giggled, nuzzling his neck before planting a soft kiss there. I'm sorry, Ethan. I was just using an emergency rescue technique. A rescue technique? That's right. You fainted so suddenly. As your primary caretaker, it's my responsibility to wake you up when you're unconscious. And the medical procedure I used is extremely advanced. Not just anyone knows how to do it. Are you just making this up as you go? Ethan screamed internally. What kind of treatment is that? You're going to give the patient a heart attack. Seeing the stunned look on his face, Lily added helpfully, Don't worry, patient Ethan. This treatment is reserved for you and you alone. The thought of that is a little exciting. No, that's not what I'm worried about, he yelled. HM. Lily tilted her head and pointed a finger toward the edge of the bed. Did you really think I'd forget about this just because of that? Ethan followed her finger and saw a white nurse's uniform and a pair of white thigh-high stockings draped over the bedframe. Lily feigned disappointment. Well, all right then. Since the patient doesn't consent, I can only respect the patient's wishes. In an instant, Ethan's hands shot out and clamped onto Lily's shoulders. Nurse, I feel that a single treatment session isn't enough for a full recovery. I implore you, my white-robed angel, help me defeat this demon of sickness. But you said you didn't like this therapy. I can't possibly force you. Ethan began to writhe on the bed in mock agony. The sickness. It's invaded my body. It's consuming me, piece by piece. The pain. It's too much. Angel, please save this poor child. Watching Ethan's squirming form as he struggled to hand her the battle armor was a truly moving sight. Such an indomitable will, such a resilient physique. One could write a soul-stirring essay about it. The title would be, My War Against the Inner Demon. The war was over before it began. Seeing the desperate, life-or-death plea in patient Ethan's eyes, even Lily couldn't hold back her laughter, covering her mouth to stifle her giggles. Angel, don't just stand there laughing. The hero is already transforming to fight the monster. You can't ruin this for the audience. All right. Lily's expression slowly shifted. Her light blue eyes deepened into a hazy pink, her innocent demeanor melting away into something sultry and captivating. I will now begin emergency resuscitation on my patient. The surgery begins now. The patient is critically injured and requires rapid, effective treatment. There can be no mistakes. Patient's heart rate is stable. We can begin cleaning the wound. The wound has too many foreign bodies. It requires alcohol disinfection. Beads of cold sweat formed on Nurse Lily's forehead. She found a hair tie and pulled her long hair back. Now, beginning alcohol disinfection. Patient's heart rate is accelerating due to pain. Administer anesthetic immediately. Anesthetic has been administered, but the patient's heart rate has not stabilized. Continue disinfection. After tireless effort, the team finally saw a glimmer of hope. The foreign object has been extracted. We can begin suturing the wound. Just as the wound was fully closed, when it seemed the surgery would be a complete success, the alarm suddenly blared. Trouble. The patient's heart rate is too fast. He'll go into shock. Fortunately, the experienced Nurse Lily personally intervened, using manual pressure to still the trembling patient. Quick, now's the chance. Treat him now. No good. The patient's emotional state is too unstable. If this continues. Beep. The long, flat tone of the heart monitor made Nurse Lily's own heart leap into her throat. Drip. Drop. Drip. Drop. Suddenly a miracle. The patient's life was ultimately saved. It was just a momentary asphyxiation. He was safe now. Lily stroked Ethan's pale cheek and whispered gently, Don't worry, patient. You're safe now. Ethan's trembling hand reached out, touching the silky white nylon. I think I could be revived one more time. But patient, you've only just been revived. Your body needs to recover slowly. Recover, Ethan said through gritted teeth. You just wait. With that, Patient Ethan, who had been on death's door moments before, sprang up as if miraculously resurrected. Under Lily's watchful gaze, he marched out of the room with firm, powerful steps. When he returned, he was holding a bag of his trusty goji berries. Before Lily could react, Ethan grabbed a handful and shoved them into his mouth, chewing vigorously. "Now, nurse," he said, his mouth full. "Do I still look like I need saving?" Lily bit her finger gently, her teeth pearly white. She shifted into a W-sit on the bed and patted the sheets in front of her knees. "Well, I'll have to conduct a thorough examination first. Please get ready, patient." "Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your trouble, nurse." Ethan leaped onto the bed and immediately placed his head in her lap, a look of pure bliss on his face. Whoa, could this be the legendary Lily pillow? "Please prepare yourself, patient. I'm beginning the treatment now." Ethan folded his hands over his stomach, but that didn't feel quite right. He raised one hand above his head. As soon as he felt the soft, silky texture, he couldn't wait any longer. "I'm ready. Good." Lily placed her index fingers on either side of his temples and began to massage them in gentle circles. "Huh." Ethan's eyes blinked open in surprise. He saw Lily looking down at him, her eyes filled with a profound tenderness. "You've been really tired lately, haven't you, Ethan? So today, just relax. How does that sound?" "Lily, thank you. There. Now, close your eyes." Under Lily's soothing massage, the fatigue that had built up in Ethan's body slowly began to melt away. After his temples, she moved to other pressure points on his face. As time passed, enveloped in comfort, Ethan gradually drifted off to sleep. Huh. Hearing the even breathing from the boy in her lap, Lily stopped her movements. "Ethan needs to rest properly today. If he keeps going like this, he'll really damage his body." She leaned down and gently kissed his cheek, whispering, "Lily and Ethan have a long time ahead of them. From now on, whatever Ethan wants to see, Lily will provide." With that, she carefully lifted his head, moved it to a pillow, and pulled the covers over him. She glanced at the moon outside the window before heading into the bathroom. SHHHH. The shower head rained water down on Damien Blackwood's back. He stood with his eyes closed, lost in thought. After all this time observing and interacting with Ethan, Damien hadn't found anything explicitly wrong. The most confusing part was Ethan's behavior. Why was it so drastically different from before? Could a person's personality really change so completely in an instant? And then there was his own daughter's personality. She surely knew Ethan better than anyone, yet she showed no reaction. That was the other thing that bothered Damien. By all rights, shouldn't she find this strange? Or had falling in love robbed her of all reason? After his shower, Damien stood on the balcony, staring into space. A warm breeze rustled by, blowing a stray droplet from his wet hair onto the back of his hand. "Why didn't you dry your hair?" A bathrobe was draped over his back, followed by Lena's voice. I was just thinking about what so intently? Why not tell me about it?" Lena took a towel and began gently dabbing the water from his back. It had to be said, Damien's physique was still remarkable for his age. The well-defined abs and powerful muscles were enough to make even Lena blush. "It's nothing, just some things that popped into my head." Damien didn't share his thoughts with Lena. He knew if she found out about his plan, she would do everything in her power to stop it. Looking at Lena's smiling, gentle face, a smile bloomed on his own lips. In one fluid motion, he swooped down and lifted her into his arms. "Ah!" Lena gasped, instinctively wrapping her arms around his neck as her feet dangled and kicked in the air. "Damien, put me down." "Never," he said, carrying her into the bedroom. Even after they were on the bed, he held her tightly in his arms. "Never, ever." Damien, your hair isn't dry yet. You'll catch a cold." Lena frantically rubbed his hair with the towel, a gesture that warmed his heart. "Damien, lower your head a little. I can't reach." The sweet, innocent Lena was still trying to dry his hair, completely unaware that Damien's expression had changed entirely. Suddenly, she felt her body shift as Damien sat up. Damien?" He stroked her cheek, his voice thick with adoration. "Lena, now let me dry your hair." "But my hair isn't. MMPH. Ethan, I'm back." Lily, wearing one of Ethan's oversized white button-down shirts, tiptoed back to the bed and, as was her habit, snuggled into his arms. Watching him sleep soundly, she smiled, her eyes crinkling with happiness. Then, suddenly, her light blue eyes began to bleed into a deep crimson. She thought back to her meeting with Lena and Damien that afternoon. She had caught Damien watching her Ethan with a scrutinizing gaze, as if he were planning something. "I suggest you put away those little ideas of yours," she thought. "There's an old saying, you stay on your side of the fence and I'll stay on mine. If you do anything awful to my Ethan, you can be sure I'll repay you in full. All right, all right. Lily's eyes gradually returned to normal. She gazed, mesmerized at the sleeping Ethan. Now is Ethan appreciation time. No distractions allowed. Ethan had no idea that every night after he fell asleep, Lily would stare at his sleeping face for a full half-hour before she herself would finally drift off. After some time had passed, Lily leaned in closer and kissed his cheek, only then closing her eyes in contentment. It's true, I could never get tired of looking at Ethan, but I'm so excited to see what the Ethan from his original world looks like. Because that's the real, true face. Ah, Ethan, for the rest of our lives, I will never leave your side. I will be with you forever. As Lily finally fell into a deep sleep, the two-part silver lockets around their necks flashed with a faint light before quickly dimming again. Just as dawn was breaking, a group of men in sharp suits arrived in a rugged, mountainous area. From the peak, they looked down upon a vast, green meadow. This spot is good. Open field of view, concealed approach, the man in the lead said, taking off his top hat and placing it on a nearby rock. All right, boys, we hide here and wait for Mr. Blackwood. Is the mission clear to everyone? Crystal, the others replied in unison. Remember, we are playing the part of men from the Ainsworth family. Do not, under any circumstances, get your cover story wrong. And Mr. Blackwood was very clear. Do not harm the targets. Simply restrain them. Don't worry, boss. We know the drill, one of the men said, pulling a small knife from his pocket and licking the blade. This little baby is coated in a deadly poison, you know. How was that, boss? With my superb acting, that kid is sure to be scared witless. The leader dusted himself off and walked slowly over to the man. He placed a hand gravely on his shoulder. I have a most important mission to entrust to you. Can you handle it? Whoa, is this it? Is today the day Vinny finally hits the big time? The man, Vinny, said excitedly. Just give the order, boss. I'll get it done, guaranteed. Good. The leader pulled $500 from his pocket and pressed it into Vinny's hand. Boss, what's this for? The neurologist's office should be opening soon. You should hurry over there and get yourself checked out. Vinny's entire body trembled, his chest heaving as if he'd been deeply moved. He suddenly shouted, Thank you, boss, for thinking of my well-being even when you're so busy. I, Vinny, am eternally grateful. Right? Take a day off. Go get a checkup. Understand. Vinny wiped a tear from his eye, gave his boss one last, longing look, and headed down the mountain. Phew. The leader breathed a sigh of relief as Vinny disappeared. If he'd let that guy stick around, who knows what kind of chaos he would have caused. All right, everyone, take 5. We wait for Mr. Blackwood's signal. Yes, sir, the man replied. MMM. Lily rubbed her eyes and woke up to see Ethan staring intently at her. Morning, Ethan. Ethan smiled gently and leaned in to kiss her forehead. Morning. Time to get up and have breakfast. Okay, you go get ready. I'll make something simple. With that, Ethan got up and went to the kitchen. Breakfast was all about nutrition. A fried egg, 2 slices of toast, and a glass of milk, the gold standard. By the time Lily emerged from the bathroom, Ethan had already set the breakfast on the table. Her slippers made a soft pat-pat-pat sound on the floor as she ran and threw herself into his arms. HM, all washed up already? Go on and eat. Your mom and dad will be here soon. I know, Lily said, nuzzling him for a moment before smiling. You go get ready, Ethan. Okay. Ethan untied his apron and headed for the bathroom. The moment Ethan's back was turned, Lily opened his toast and, from out of nowhere, produced a small bag of goji berries, which she proceeded to sneak inside. Seeing the sandwich packed to the brim with goji berries, Lily nodded in satisfaction. Now that's a nutritious meal. She then scarfed down her own breakfast in a few quick bites and sat with her chin in her hands, quietly waiting for Ethan's return. Seeing the expectant look on Lily's face, Ethan felt a prickle of unease. When he sat down and saw the state of his toast, he fell into a deep, contemplative silence. Is this bread? Oh well, I'm used to it by now. At least it's better than the bullwhip. He nonchalantly picked up the sandwich and took a bite without hesitation. He could see from the corner of Lily's mouth corking up that she was very pleased. Gulp! Huh! He'd eaten too fast. He could feel the lump of bread slowly descending his esophagus, a heavy pressure building in his chest. Seeing his discomfort, Lily quickly handed him his glass of milk. Ethan, quick, drink something to wash it down. At the same time, she placed a hand on his back, rubbing it in gentle circles. MMM. Gurgle, gurgle. Ha, Ethan sighed. Finally got it down. Thanks, Lily. He hadn't finished his sentence when he saw Lily staring at him, her lips trembling and her eyes welling up with tears. Ethan, do you have any idea how worried I was? You scared me to death just now. Sorry, I was just eating too fast. Don't you ever do that again. Lily leaned into his chest, her body trembling slightly. I don't want anything to happen to you ever again. Ethan didn't say a word. He just held her close, resting his head on top of hers. After a moment, her trembling subsided as her nerves seemed to calm. Feeling better, Lily? I'll be more careful from now on. Oomph. You always say that, but you always end up in trouble. Hey, it's been a while since anything's happened, right? You should have a little faith in me. How could I not have faith in you? Lily cupped his face, her expression serious. In this entire world, you're the only one I believe in. As she finished speaking, Ethan slowly leaned in closer. I love you, Lily. Downstairs, Lena finished the last bite of her steamed bun and tossed the plastic bag into a nearby trash can. Damien, that place makes some pretty good buns. Damien nodded. Are you full, Lena? I still have some. I'm full. Lena wiped her mouth and was about to toss her napkin when Damien snatched it from her hand. Damien, I have more napkins if you need one. Why would you use mine? I'm being frugal, Damien said, elegantly dabbing at his own mouth. You're just teasing me all the time, Lena grumbled, turning away with a blush. Anyway, what's taking Lily and Ethan so long? They should be down by now. As if on cue, the apartment building's main door opened and Ethan emerged, holding Lily's hand. Good morning, ma'am, sir, Ethan said politely. Good morning, dear. Lena shot a look at Damien, who was standing beside her with a sour expression, and nudged him with her elbow. Morning, Damien grunted reluctantly before turning and walking ahead. Lena shot a look at Damien's retreating back, then took Lily's hand. He's just like that. Don't mind him, let's go. Mom, where are we going to have fun today? Lena put a finger to her lips with a mysterious smile. I found a most perfect camping spot nearby. The scenery is absolutely beautiful. I promise, this will be a perfect trip. Wow, Mom, you're amazing. Lily clapped her hands, her face a picture of delight. How's my daughter so cute? Lena pulled Lily into a hug, nuzzling her cheek against her daughter's. Watching from the side, Ethan chuckled softly. Lily really is becoming more cheerful and outgoing. When they reached the street, a large, dark-colored SUV was parked at the curb. Here we are, Lena said, stroking Lily's head as she opened the back door. Damien and I came prepared today. All the camping gear is in the trunk. Hop in, Lily. Lily bit her lip and looked back at Ethan, then quickly walked over and took his hand. Lena saw this, but said nothing, simply beckoning Ethan over. How about this? Ethan and Lily, you two sit in the back. Lily nodded eagerly. Then get in quickly. Lena saw that Damien was already in the driver's seat and got him beside him. Just as Ethan was about to open the car door, Lily pulled on his arm. Lily, Ethan, you have to stay with me, okay? The wilderness is so scary. Scared? Is there anything Lily is actually scared of? Maybe bugs or something. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Once everyone was inside, Damien, serving as the driver, took a deep breath and hit the gas. The drive was quiet, so Lena turned on the car stereo, putting on some relaxing indie folk music. Lily, we still have a ways to go. If you get sleepy, you can lean on Ethan and take a nap, Lena said, turning her head but secretly glancing at them in the rearview mirror. Okay, Mom, Lily replied, letting out a fake yawn and leaning her head on Ethan's shoulder. Ethan, can I sleep on you for a little while? Girl, that sentence has a double meaning. Seeing the veins pop on the back of Damien's hands as he gripped the steering wheel, Ethan wrapped an arm around Lily and said, Don't talk, Lily. Just get some rest. In the rearview mirror, Lena watched the loving couple, a smile playing on her lips. The scenery blurred past the window as Ethan rested his chin on his hand, gazing outside. When the SUV finally reached its destination, the sun had begun to climb higher in the sky. We're here. Damien killed the engine, pulled out the key, and looked toward the distant mountain peak. Wow, it's so beautiful, Lena cried out, jumping out of the car and running gleefully through the meadow with her arms spread wide. Be easy, be easy. Just then, Damien's phone vibrated a few times and then went silent. All right, boys, Mr. Blackwood has arrived. It's showtime. The leader of the group put on his top hat, his friendly demeanor suddenly turning fierce. The others packed up their props and moved to the edge of the ridge. Let me repeat this one more time, boys. We're just putting on a performance. Remember not to actually harm the two targets, or we'll have to face Mr. Blackwood's wrath. The others nodded, pulling binoculars from their jackets and discreetly observing the movements below. Seeing they had arrived, Ethan was about to wake the sleeping Lily, but before he could say a word, her eyes snapped open. Ethan, are we here? Yes, I think this is it. Before them, a vast expanse of green meadow stretched out, dotted with wildflowers of every color. It was as beautiful as a fairy tale kingdom. Isn't it beautiful, Lily? Ethan smiled, seeing her dazed expression. It's beautiful, Lily breathed, her mouth slightly agape, captivated by the scene before her face full of wonder and anticipation. Well, what are we waiting for? Ethan pushed open his door, got out, and, adopting a gentlemanly pose, offered his hand to Lily. May I ask if this beautiful young lady would be willing to spend the rest of her life with me? Ethan, Lily's eyes shimmered with emotion as she slowly placed her hand in his. I am. Then I'll be in your care for the rest of our lives. Not just the rest of our lives. Lily got out of the car and, on her own initiative, stood on her toes and leaned in close. The future, too. Then I'll be in your care for the future. Not just the future. Forever. The sun illuminated them in the glistening meadow, and the surrounding flowers seemed to grow even more vibrant. A mountain breeze rustled by, making Lily's white sundress dance, as if all of nature was setting the stage just for them. Damen, Lena stood a short distance away, watching everything, and leaned against his shoulder. Lily is going to be a very happy girl, isn't she? Damen didn't speak, his eyes fixed on Ethan's expression. It's too natural. There's not a single flaw. Could it be that I'm overthinking this? Whatever. We'll see what your attitude is later, kid. Come on, Lena. Damen took her hand. We should go set up the tents. Aren't we spending the night here? MHM. By the way, Damen, did you only bring one blanket? Lena asked, eyeing him as if she'd discovered something. Don't we only need one? Of course not. When we were packing, I reminded you over and over. You did this on purpose. And what, pray tell, are you going to do about it, Lena? Damen said with a smug, teasing smile. You. Humph. Lena stomped her foot petulantly and turned, heading back toward Lily without another word. After a team effort, 2 tents were finally pitched near a wide-open area at the foot of the mountain. Phew. Ethan wiped the sweat from his forehead with his arm. This tent wasn't so hard. I have no idea how Moose managed to build that monstrosity of his back in the day. You worked hard, Ethan, Lily said, walking over with a cold bottle of water and handing it to him. Thanks, Lily. Just as Ethan twisted off the cap, he noticed Damen staring daggers at him. Though he and Lena had also finished their tent, Lena was sitting on the grass, smelling the flowers. Seeing this, Ethan shot a triumphant look back at Damen. What are you looking at? My Lily gave this to me. You can't have one. Crack. Damen snapped the tent pole he was holding in two. Kid, I hope you're still smiling later. Thwack. Thwack. Damen hammered the last stake into the ground, and the tent was finally standing. Lena, seeing this, patted down her skirt and walked over to him, her hands deliberately held behind her back. You seem to be having a lot of fun over there, Lena, Damen said coolly, his arms crossed. Hee, the scenery here is just so beautiful. I got a little carried away. Lena walked up to Damen and revealed what she had been hiding behind her back. In her hands was a wreath woven from wildflowers. I made this for you, Damen. Do you like it? Just like that, all of Damien's earlier resentment vanished. He lowered his head slightly, allowing Lena to place it on him. Thank you, Lena. A rare smile appeared on Damien's stoic face. He pulled her into his arms and shot a smug look at Ethan. He expected to see a jealous face, but Ethan was already lounging on a picnic blanket laid out on the grass. And to make matters worse, right under his own nose, he was resting his head in his daughter's lap. Change of plans. Eliminate the target. Lena, it's time for lunch. Go get Lily and bring her over, Damen said, slowly calming himself and patting Lena's back. Okay. Lena nodded and walked toward Lily. Lily, is this really okay? Your parents are right over there, Ethan whispered. He had clearly felt a bone-chilling killing intent directed at him just a moment ago, but Lily's hands were firmly holding his head in place, preventing him from moving. Of course it's okay. You know, my mom wants us to get closer. What's there to be afraid of? I'm not talking about your mom. Then you have even less to worry about. He won't dare to do anything. Lily's calm tone was laced with a palpable chill, devoid of any concern. Thump thump. The sound of footsteps on the grass approached. Lily glanced over and saw Lena walking toward them. Why must you interrupt my time with Ethan? Damen, can't you control your woman? Though she was seething internally, Lily still offered Lena a bright smile. Mom, what's up? Hi, ma'am. Ethan heard her voice and sat up with a jolt. Kids, Lena said, pinching Lily's cheek affectionately. It's almost lunchtime. We should probably get ready. Okay, they said in unison. The group gathered by the SUV, setting up a portable grill and a small prep station. Lily, Ethan, Lena said, pulling a set of knives from a case and brandishing a chef's knife. Today, you're going to witness my culinary skills. We're counting on you, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help? Ethan rolled up his sleeves and glanced at the cooler full of food. I already prepped all the meat and vegetables this morning, Lena said, holding up skewers of marinated meat and veggies. All they need is to be put on the grill. She then pointed to a bag of fruit. But Ethan, you could help me cut up the fruit. We can have some after our meal. I'm on it. Ethan was about to take a fruit knife from the set, but Lily snatched it first. Ethan, leave this to me. I'm very good at this, you know. With that, she gave the knife a flashy, expert twirl. Just then, Damien walked over from the front of the car, sneaking a glance at Ethan before saying with feigned distress, "Oh no, we left in such a hurry this morning. I forgot to bring the fish." Clatter. Hearing this, Lena lost her grip, and a skewer of corn fell onto the grass. What? Lena's favorite food was fish, and she had planned to personally cook her signature dish for Lily today. She had even mentioned it when they left the hotel that morning. "Lena, I'm so sorry Damien walked over to her, his face full of apology. Lena pouted and shook her head, muttering, It's okay. It's okay if we don't have it today. I just wanted Lily to try it." Seeing Lena's crestfallen expression, Damien clenched his fists. How could he have forgotten her words? In truth, the fish was tucked away in a corner of the trunk. But if he didn't do this, how could his plan proceed? "Don't worry, Lena, there's still a way," Damien said, lifting her chin to comfort her. "There's a river not far from here. I can go catch a few. What do you think?" Lena's eyes lit up for a moment before she quickly hid her excitement. "Let's just forget it. The kids are probably hungry. We can find another chance later." "How can we do that?" Damien declared, pulling a tackle box from the car. "You wait here, Lena. I'll go catch you a few right now." With that, Damien walked over to Ethan. "Kid, you're not doing anything anyway. Why don't you come with me and catch some fish? Besides, your aunt really wanted Lily to taste her grilled fish." "Well, okay." Ethan scratched his head. "After all, we're going to be family one day. I should make a good impression. Maybe then Damien will finally accept me." Schlick, a flash of steel. A fruit knife was driven straight into a watermelon. Lily then quickly walked up and took Ethan's arm. "Ethan, where are you going?" "I'm going with your dad to the river to catch some fish." "Don't worry, Lily, it won't take long." Lily's gaze shifted to Damien, who was fiddling with a fishing rod and seemed perfectly normal. But what was this feeling of unease? "No, I will not repeat the mistakes of the past." Lily gripped Ethan's hand tightly and said firmly, then, "I'm going with you." "Together? But what about the fruit?" Ethan pointed to the prep table and froze. Somehow, all the fruit had already been perfectly cut, and even the watermelon was now neatly sliced. "Any more questions, Ethan?" "And no." "Then let's go," Damien said. He saw Lily following and his brow furrowed, but he didn't say anything. He just told Lena to be careful before picking up the tackle box and heading toward the river. Phew. Lena finished prepping the last meat skewer. As she was about to grab a chicken leg to prepare it, she noticed that one of the two fruit knives was missing from the knife set. Strange. Where's the other knife? Oh well, I'll just use the one Lily used for the fruit. A set of fishing gear, a folding chair, a bucket of bait. The stage was set. Damien finished mixing the bait, cast them into the water to attract fish, and prepared to cast his line. Whoa! Seeing Damien's professional-looking equipment, Ethan couldn't help but be impressed. "Sir, you look like a pro." Damien remained silent as usual, but the slight upward twitch of his lips betrayed him. "Since you're so good with your words, kid, maybe I'll go a little easier on you later." Ahem. Damien cleared his throat and gestured toward his tackle box, where another fishing rod lay. "Sir, you mean?" "Kid, let's have a competition. See who can catch more fish. If I lose, I'll grant you one request." "And if I lose?" Ethan asked warily, afraid this was some kind of trap. "No penalty," Damien said, setting his rod and staring at the bobber floating on the river surface. "Because there's no way you can win." "Deal." Ethan walked over and picked up the rod. If there was no penalty, he had to give a shot. What if he won? All right, 1 hour on the clock, starting now. Damien looked at his watch and pressed a small button on its side. Ethan baited his hook and cast his line into the river. Standing by the riverbank, Lily scanned her surroundings. They were in a kind of dead end, with only one path in or out. The rest of the area was surrounded by dense shrubs and a thick forest. Cuckoo! Suddenly, birds from both sides of the river took flight, startling her. Lily's sense of alertness sharpened. She tightened her grip on the knife handle in her pocket and slowly moved closer to Ethan. "Ethan!" Just as Ethan had secured his fishing rod, Lily walked up and tapped him on the shoulder. "What's wrong, Lily?" He turned around and saw that her face had become serious, as if she had discovered something. "Ethan, did you just see those birds fly out of the forest?" "I think so, but what is that?" Ethan's mind flashed back to something he'd seen in a video in his past life. When something startled birds, they would flee their roosts as a self-preservation instinct. He realized with a jolt. Lily, you mean there's something in there? Yes. Lily narrowed her eyes, staring at a patch of rustling bushes in the distance. In any case, Ethan, let's get out of here. I get it. I'll go tell your dad. Ethan got up and hurried over to Damien, grabbing his arm. Sir, there's no time to explain. Just then, the bobber on Damien's line plunged underwater. A fish was on the hook. In that same instant, several masked men in black suits emerged from the surrounding bushes, pointing pistols at Ethan's group. Don't move. One of them, a tall, powerfully built man, yelled as he slowly advanced, his gun trained on them. One more step, and I'll shoot. Seeing the intruders, Damien's eyes widened. He immediately stood up, shielding Ethan and Lily behind him. Lily, meanwhile, clutched Ethan's shirt, her eyes darting around, assessing the situation. Who are you? Ha, mister. Blackwood, you have such a short memory. The man walked right up to Damien and pressed the barrel of his gun to Damien's forehead. Did you really think we couldn't find you here? Ainsworth. Damien spat the name through gritted teeth, his eyes glaring at the man. You can kill me. Just let these two kids go. Ha. The man's laughter echoed along the riverbank. He clicked off the safety on his gun. Mr. Blackwood, you're hilarious. Do you really think you're in any position to negotiate with us? At the same time, another burly man walked over to the leader. Boss, how about you let me have some fun with the pretty boy over there? You know I have a taste for that. A chill ran down Ethan's spine, his eyes widening in disbelief. Be my guest. All we need is Damien Blackwood and the woman with him. Thanks, boss. The burly man grinned, his lips splitting into a wide, leering smile as he walked toward Ethan. Seeing him approach, Ethan's expression hardened. He had secretly picked up a sharp-edged rock earlier. Even if they were outnumbered, he would not suffer that kind of humiliation. He gave Lily's hand a gentle squeeze and whispered, Lily, when I make my move, run into the woods. Don't stop for anything. Even if I die, you will not touch Lily. Lily didn't say a word. Her gaze was fixed on the watch wrapped around the leader's wrist. She slowly relaxed her grip on her knife, her eyes now locked on Damien. A thick, rough hand reached for him. Ethan tensed, sidestepped the man in a single fluid motion, and raised the rock to smash it against the back of his head. But the man was surprisingly agile. He spun around and raised his arm, blocking the attack. Not bad, kid. You got some strength, the man chuckled. But it's not quite enough. He was about to execute a shoulder throw when he seemed to remember something and froze. Now, Ethan yelled, wrapping his arms tightly around the man's waist and shouting at Lily. But Lily stood there, motionless, as if she hadn't heard him. Lily. Ethan looked back and saw her standing frozen in place. His mind went blank. Suddenly, the leader raised his gun, aimed it at Lily, and looked like he was about to pull the trigger. No! Ethan shoved the burly man aside and sprinted, throwing himself in front of Lily to shield her from the bullet. Bayou, the leader said with his mouth. A stream of water shot out of the gun's barrel and splattered across Ethan's face. The world went quiet. Ethan blinked, as if he hadn't quite processed what had just happened. He touched the water on his face, and understanding slowly dawned. Is this water? Ha. At that, everyone burst out laughing. The burly man was about to pat Ethan on the shoulder, but froze when he caught the look in Lily's eyes. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he quickly retracted his hand. Strange. I'm retired Special Forces. How can I be intimidated by a teenage girl? It must be because she's Mr. Blackwood's daughter. Damien walked over to his fishing rod, quickly reeled it in, and pulled a plump, fresh fish from the water. Lena will definitely like this. Damien unhooked the fish and dropped it into a bucket. What is going on? It was just a test, kid, designed by our boss, Mr. Blackwood, the burly man said with a grin. The goal was to see if you were truly sincere about our young miss. Damien picked up the other fishing rod from the ground and threw it in the man's direction. Nobody would think you were mute if you just kept your mouth shut. At that, everyone wisely fell silent. They lined up, gave Damien a salute, and scurried away. Kid. Damien took a deep breath and opened his eyes. I know you probably resent me for this, but I don't regret it. I have my answer now, and I won't interfere with you anymore. But I have one condition. He looked Ethan directly in the eye. If I ever find out that you aren't treating Lily well, I will use every means at my disposal to make you suffer. So this was all Damien's test? Ethan nodded slowly, then reached out and intertwined his fingers with Lily's. You don't have to worry, sir. I will never let Lily get hurt. Good. Then take this fish to your aunt. Damien handed him the bucket. I need to have a word with Lily. Ethan glanced at Lily, who nodded back at him. Okay, I'll head back then. As Ethan's silhouette faded into the distance, the smile on Lily's face vanished. Lily, Before Damien could finish, a flash of silver glinted in the sun, and a fruit knife was pressed against his neck. He looked over and saw that Lily's eyes, once a gentle blue, were now a terrifying blood red, like those of a rabid beast. Why do you have to meddle? Because I want a better life for you. Damien trailed off as he felt the knife press harder, a thin line of blood welling up on his skin. This is my final warning. Stop doing these pointless things. With that, Lily flicked the knife to the side. At that exact moment, a fish leaped from the river. The knife sailed through the air, impaled the fish mid-flight, and carried it into the trunk of a nearby tree, pinning it there. The fish's tail thrashed for a few moments before going still. When Damien looked back, Lily was gone. He walked slowly to the tree, yanked the knife free, and grabbed the fish that was still stuck to it. Sizzle. The sound of meat grilling filled the air, releasing a rich, savory aroma. Lena hummed a tune, brushing sauce onto a potato skewer. I wonder how Damien and the kids are doing? I'm almost done with the food over here. Phew. Ethan was walking back when a voice called out from behind him. Ethan, huh? That's Lily's voice. He turned around and, sure enough, saw Lily running toward him, holding the sides of her long dress. Lily, slow down. You'll fall. He saw her getting closer and closer, her speed not decreasing one bit. Ethan quickly opened his arms. If he wasn't mistaken. Thump. As expected, Lily tackled him to the ground. The soft grass cushioned their fall, so it didn't hurt. Besides, in the instant they fell, Lily had reached out to cradle the back of his head. And so, Ethan lay sprawled on the grass in the shape of a star. A warm breeze blew, rustling Lily's long hair. Her shimmering, tearful eyes were so beautiful that he found himself lost in them. Even though he was with her every day, he would never get tired of this sight. Ethan, Lily murmured. What is it, Lily? Were you trying to abandon me back there? Is she talking about when I told her to run? What? Of course not. I just wanted you to hide first. It's called a strategic retreat. Did you forget the promise we made? Lily's eyes glistened with tears as she spoke. We said we would face everything together, but you chose to bear it all alone. Drip, drip. Tears streamed down her cheeks and fell onto his face, startling him. Did you ever consider my feelings, Ethan? This world is nothing without you. Lily shrieked, burying her face in his chest and sobbing. I only want Ethan. I only have Ethan. A single tear trickled onto Ethan's lips. So salty. So that's why Lily was just standing there. It was because of me. I'm sorry. Ethan hugged her tightly. I'll never do that again. Whatever happens, I'll face it with you. I will always be by your side. A tiny smile curved Lily's lips as she deeply inhaled the scent of Ethan in the air. The fish lying on the ground nearby gave a final, dead-eyed flop and went still. After they had both composed themselves, Ethan sat up, pulling Lily with him, and gently wiped the tear tracks from her cheeks with his sleeve. All right, don't cry anymore. It's all your fault. Seeing her pitiable, lovely expression, Ethan couldn't resist leaning in and planting a soft kiss on her cheek. Come on, Lily. We should head back. Okay. Lily's gloom vanished the instant his lips touched her skin. There was no other reason than the fact that he was the person she loved most in the world. And so, holding hands, they walked through the endless meadow, carrying a recently deceased fish. On the way, Ethan asked curiously, back when we were fishing, had you already sensed something was wrong? Yes. Lily nodded, resting her head on his shoulder. When the birds flew out of the trees like that, I knew something was off. It meant there was either a loud noise or something that scared them. Since there was no sound, I was sure it had to be a person or a wild animal. That's why I told you to leave. I see. Ethan had considered that possibility too, but he hadn't expected the men in black to arrive so quickly. They must have been lying in wait. So, did you know it was all an act? No, Lily said without hesitation. If I had known, I never would have let you go. Ethan nodded. That makes sense. Ethan was oblivious to the fact that Lily wasn't telling the truth. In reality, she had sensed something was amiss early on and had confirmed her suspicions after observing Damien. Thump thump. Lena heard the footsteps and looked back to see the two of them walking toward her, hand in hand. Oh, my. Lena cupped her chin with one hand, a knowing, motherly smile on her face. They really are a match made in heaven. Ahem. Ethan coughed shyly and handed the bag with the fish to Lena. Ma'am, this is the fish my your husband, caught from the river. Thank you, dears. Lena happily took the fish, placed it on a cutting board, and began to scale it. Lily, if you two are hungry now, you can eat the barbecue on the platter. I just finished grilling it. That's okay, ma'am. We can wait, Ethan said, shaking his head and sitting cross-legged on the picnic blanket. What a polite boy this Ethan, Lena thought. She didn't press the issue, simply speeding up her scaling, eager to get the fish cooked for Lily. Just then, Damien walked over and, without a word, wrapped his arms around Lena from behind. Damien, what's wrong? The kids are right here, Lena said, glancing back at the silent Damien. It's nothing. I just wanted to hug you. Lena sensed a faint sadness from him, but didn't ask, letting him hold her as she continued to scale the fish. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Soon the fish was scaled and cleaned. Lena washed her hands, skewered the fish, and placed it on the grill. SSSSSS. A thick cloud of smoke billowed from the grill, followed by the fragrant aroma of cooking fish. Wow, ma'am, your cooking smells amazing, Ethan said, tilting his head back to inhale the scent, his mouth watering. Lily glanced over at Lena and Damien, who both had their backs to them. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Ethan. Ethan seems to really want some. Yeah. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. Don't you want some, Lily? I do, but I'm not talking about the barbecue. Lily's voice grew quieter as she spoke. Seeing Ethan's gaze fixed on the grill, a sour feeling brewed in her heart. Just then, Lily suddenly grabbed a skewer of grilled meat from the platter, put a piece in her own mouth, and then lunged at Ethan, pressing her face to his. MMPH. Ethan tried to make a sound but was silenced by Lily, his protest dying before it could begin. Sizzle. Slurp. The oil splattered on the fish, making a loud, sizzling sound. Lena was lost in the art of cooking. Damien was lost in Lena. Ethan was lost in the promise of barbecue. And Lily was lost in Ethan. Everyone, it seemed, was preoccupied. All done. Lena sprinkled some sesame seeds and salt on the grilled fish and placed it on a platter. Lily, come and try some. She turned around and saw Lily sitting obediently on the blanket, her eyes closed as if savoring a pleasant memory. Beside her, Ethan sat frozen like a wooden chicken, blinking his eyes, a trail of drool at the corner of his mouth. Look at how hungry the poor child is. Lena quickly brought the fish over, placed it on the blanket, and beckoned to them. Sorry for the wait. Lily, Ethan, you must be starving. Go on, dig in. Okay, Lily covered her mouth to hide a small smile, then picked up a skewer of meat and placed it in Ethan's bowl. Ethan, time to eat. Hearing her voice, Ethan finally snapped out of it and began devouring the food on his plate. Seeing him eat with such gusto, Lena picked up a piece of fish with her chopsticks and put it in Lily's bowl. Lily, come try Mom's grilled fish. It's my specialty. Thanks, Mom. Lily held up her bowl with an expectant look and slowly brought the fish to her lips. Lena's cooking was undeniably excellent. The succulent fish, grilled to perfection over charcoal, had a crispy skin. Paired with the fragrant sesame and a secret sauce, it was a powerful explosion of flavor. But in Lily's eyes, this tempting delicacy was merely sustenance. The truly mouth-watering meal was sitting right next to her. Show good. Lily's eyes lit up as she chewed happily, covering her mouth. That's good. Lena relaxed, her hand over her heart, before turning her gaze to Damien beside her. He was looking at her with a pained, jealous expression, as if he had been greatly wronged. All right. Lena understood. She picked up a piece of fish and held it to his lips, stroking his hair with her other hand. Are you satisfied now? Ethan, just as Ethan was wolfing down his food, Lily's voice called out to him. Ethan's mouth stopped moving. He turned to her. What is it, Lily? Lily looked down shyly, but pointed a finger in Lena's direction. I want Ethan to feed me fish, too. And now, Ethan looked over. Although Lena and Damien weren't paying attention at that moment, what if they turned around? Yes. If you wait any longer, we'll be caught. Ethan steeled himself. With lightning speed, he picked up a piece of fish belly and held it to Lily's lips. Lily, open up. But Lily didn't open her mouth. Instead, she looked at him with a playful expression. Ethan panicked, and just as he was wondering what to do, Lily suddenly leaned in and pecked him on the lips. Thank you for the treat, Ethan. Ethan's hand, still holding the fish, froze in midair. At that exact moment, Lena and Damien turned their heads and saw him. Oh my, Lena said, covering her eyes but clearly peeking through her fingers. I didn't see a thing. Seeing Lena's wide-open eyes between her fingers only made Ethan more embarrassed. And so, the family finished their meal in cheerful harmony. As far as Ethan could tell, Lena knew nothing about what had happened at the river. It seemed Damien had kept his plan to himself. After the meal, Lily volunteered to help Lena with the dishes, while Damien announced he was going for a walk and ended up on a nearby slope. SSS. Phew. A puff of smoke escaped Damien's lips as he stared at the setting sun. Excuse me. Damien turned to see Ethan standing behind him. What is it? Sir, you haven't forgotten our bet, have you? The bet? You mean the fishing contest at the river? But you already lost. That's not necessarily true. Ethan pulled a tiny, dead fish from behind his back. You never specified what kind of fish. I may not have caught one with a rod, but I managed to find this one with a net. You kid. Damien shook his head with a small laugh, then turned his gaze back to the sunset. Go on. What do you want? I want you and your wife to come to my and Lily's wedding. When Ethan said those words, the world around them seemed to fall silent, except for the sound of the wind rustling the leaves. Damien didn't react until the lit end of his cigarette burned his hand. You want to marry Lily? Yes. A smile spread across Ethan's face. This was something he had been planning for a while. I want to give Lily a warm home. Sir, you know as well as I do that Lily has suffered a lot. From now on, I will do everything in my power to protect her. I want her to be happy for the rest of her life. When, sir, I said, when are you getting married? Hearing this, Ethan was ecstatic, unable to hide his grin. I'm still preparing, but if all goes well, it should be in a few months. All right, call me when the time comes. Damien handed Ethan his business card, along with a black credit card. This is my private number. Thank you, sir, but I can't take this card. Ethan tried to refuse, but Damien pressed it into his hand. The card isn't for you. It's for Lily. The pin is her birthday. Damien then glanced past Ethan. In the distance, behind a tree, a single light blue, I was watching them intently. Lena and I are leaving tomorrow morning. I have business to attend to in the UK. You'd better take good care of my daughter. Don't worry, sir. I'll head back now. As their conversation ended, the eye behind the tree disappeared along with the last rays of the setting sun. When Ethan got back to the campsite, Lena and Lily were just closing the trunk of the SUV. Seeing him, Lily joyfully threw herself into his arms. Ethan, where did you go? What took you so long? I was just asking your dad about some things. I see. A perfect curve formed on Lily's lips, a sweet smile she couldn't hide. The image of herself in a pristine white wedding dress, walking down the aisle with her Ethan, made her restless heart flutter with excitement. You two are getting more and more brazen, Lena said with a mock-sour expression. You're this bold in front of me. If I leave, are you two going to tear the roof off the place? Mom, you're teasing me again, Lily pouted. All right, I'll stop. If I stay here any longer, I think I'll get a cavity from all this sweetness. Lena then looked at Ethan. Dear, where's your father-in-law to be? Why isn't he back yet? It's getting dark. He's on the hill up ahead. Okay, well, you two should probably get in your tent. It's not safe out here after dark. Okay, you be careful too, ma'am. Watching Lena leave, Lily could no longer contain herself. She grabbed Ethan's arm and dragged him toward the tent. Whoa. Lily, what are you doing? Mom said it's not safe outside after dark. Aren't you a good boy, Ethan? But you can't just take off my jacket. The temperature in the tent is different. What if you get too hot? But I'm not hot. Just then, Lily saw an opening and swiftly pulled his jacket off, tossing it inside. She backed him into a corner of the tent, then poked her head out of the flap. Seeing no sign of Damien or Lena, she slowly zipped it shut. Don't worry, Ethan. You'll be hot in a minute. Ethan felt a sense of impending doom. Lily, he said quickly, I just remembered I have something to tell your mom. Whatever it is can wait until tomorrow. Lily turned around, a wicked grin on her face, and switched off the tent's electric lantern. Click. The world went dark. Ethan lost his sight completely, and a profound sense of crisis bloomed in his chest. He was like a headless fly, scrambling in every direction, unaware that the hunter was already watching his every move. Most hunters enjoy watching their prey struggle and flee. It heightens their desire. Lily was no different. Oh, Lily, I know you're in here. Turn on the light. Ethan reached out his hands, fumbling in the dark. Through the faint moonlight filtering through the fabric, he could vaguely make out the entrance. Through tireless effort, he felt something that seemed to be a metal zipper. Overjoyed, he quickly pulled it up. Zip. He heard the sound of a zipper, but to his confusion, what he had opened was not the tent door. It seemed to be his own jacket. Huh, why is my jacket floating in midair? Wait, floating. Ethan gripped a corner of the jacket and slowly pulled it down. A pair of luminous, light blue eyes appeared before him. Thump, thump, thump. Lena's shoes made soft sounds on the soil. When she reached the hill, she couldn't find any sign of Damien. Where did Damien go? Just as she was wondering, a puff of warm breath tickled her cheek. Lena yelped, and a pair of hands wrapped around her. Lena, what's all the fuss about? Damien? It's you. You scared me to death. Lena playfully punched him in the chest. You know you could give someone a heart attack doing that. I just wanted to surprise you, Damien said, pinching her cheek. Did you come looking for me for a reason, Lena? I just came to see what was taking you so long. Oh, is that concern I hear in your voice, Lena? Oh, who's concerned about you? Lena turned her head away, unable to meet Damien's gaze. Ah, so that's how it is. Damien sighed, his shoulders slumping. Fine. I guess I'll just go face my lonely doom by myself. He trudged forward, his silhouette a perfect picture of dejection, so pitiful it could break your heart. Wait. Lena reached out to grab his arm, but caught only air. She stomped her foot in frustration, then ran and threw herself onto his back. Are you an idiot? I thought I made myself perfectly clear. I know. You don't care about me. No need to repeat it. That was all a lie. Why would I have come looking for you if I didn't care? Lena's lip trembled, and it looked like she might burst into tears at any second. Damien knew he'd pushed it far enough. Any more teasing would backfire. I knew you were the best to me, Lena, he chuckled, taking her hand and squeezing it tightly in his own. Oomph. And just a second ago, you were putting on that pathetic lost puppy act. Even though she mumbled, the quiet of the woods carried her words straight to his ears. An idea sparked in his mind. He spun around, pressing her against a tree and tilting her chin up, looking down at her imperiously. Lena, I just thought of something fun. Can I opt out? Not a chance. You're the leading lady in this little drama. And before she could protest, Damien leaned in and kissed her. No, stop. The zipper of the tent slowly slid open, and Ethan's head suddenly popped out. Hot. I'm burning up. Steam seemed to rise from his head, and in the moonlight, his face was flushed a shade of red that couldn't get any redder. Ethan, another head poked out from the tent. Don't even think about escaping. We're just getting started. Just getting started. Ethan flipped over, his hands clawing at the grass, trying desperately to crawl away. Please, just let me go. I can't take any more. Of course, Lily wasn't about to give him a chance to breathe. What happened next was a scene of pure, terrifying fun. No, stay away. Don't you come near me. Ethan's pupils shrank as if he'd seen something horrific. He clawed at the grass, struggling to escape the monster in the darkness. But how could the monster let him get away so easily? A single tentacle snaked out, wrapping around his calf and relentlessly pulling him back into the shadows. No, I don't want to go back. I'll be eaten alive. Feeling the immense force tugging at him, despair washed over Ethan. No matter how hard he fought, he couldn't escape the monster's grasp. Suddenly, his struggles ceased, not because he had broken free, but because countless tentacles had now enveloped his entire body, leaving only his eyes uncovered. Gotcha! The monster pressed its full weight down on him, for tentacles locking his limbs in place, rendering him powerless. Help! Before he could finish the word, an invisible force dragged him back into the tent. The only things left behind were two bald patches of dirt in the grass, where the turf had been ripped clean from the ground. Zip! As the zipper slowly closed, a pair of pale blue eyes vanished into the darkness. The clearing returned to its original, peaceful state. A few moments later, footsteps crunched nearby. Looks like the kids are asleep. Their tent light is off, Lena said, peering at their tent from a distance. Seeing no movement, she walked back to the SUV. Damien couldn't help but chuckle as he watched her limp toward him. What's so funny, you jerk? Lena punched his shoulder, annoyed. This is all your fault. Oh, and what precisely did I do to make you suffer so? You know exactly what you did. I was merely helping you commune with nature. To become one with the wilderness is to find true bliss for body and mind. I'm not talking to you anymore. Lena shot him a glare and hobbled awkwardly into their tent. Damien locked the car and walked over to their tent. He glanced sideways at Ethan's tent for a moment before ducking inside his own. Inside, Lena was already lying on her side on the sleeping pad, her breathing soft and even. Is she asleep already? Damien quietly turned on his phone's flashlight. He saw Lena's eyelashes flutter rapidly. Don't pretend, Lena. I know you're awake. Caught. Lena opened her eyes and pushed against him with both hands. No, I'm out of energy. What are you thinking about? I just want to hold you while we sleep. My, what wicked things are you imagining? Lena's face flushed. That's not what I meant. She pulled a corner of the blanket over herself, turning her back to him. Sensing trouble, Damien quickly wrapped his arms around her from behind, whispering softly. All right, my sweet Lena, I was wrong. I shouldn't have teased you. After a long moment, Lena spoke, her voice low. Damien, are we really going back tomorrow? Yes. The plane is ready. Besides, you know there are some disputes with the Ainsworth family that need to be settled. As he spoke, Damien's tone grew colder, almost frightening. This is to protect you. And Lily. I know. Lena turned back to him, placing a hand on his cheek. I had some misunderstandings about you before, but now I have my answer. I love you, Damien. Lena, but you have to promise me you'll protect yourself, okay? I will. And with that, they held each other tightly and slowly drifted off to sleep. Out in the wild, far from the city's noise and chaos, there was a profound peace and quiet. But in the other tent, things were a little more special. NGH. MMM. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. The temperature inside the tent had skyrocketed. Staring at the monster before him, he could only surrender to being devoured. A bewitching voice whispered in his ear. Mom and Dad are asleep now. You'd better not make a sound, Ethan, or they'll find us. The waves on the beach were gentle, a constant lapping of surf against the sand. The sound was quiet, but the rhythmic rush of water was distinct in the night air. Oh, ocean so vast and blue, but not as pretty Zoe as you. Leo King stood with his feet planted wide in the sand, basking in the night breeze. Behind him, Zoe Reed, wrapped in a jacket, followed. Seeing Leo's ridiculous pose, Zoe couldn't help but burst out laughing. Leo turned, a smug look on his face. Are you laughing at me, Zoe? No, I just thought of something happy. You're totally laughing at me. You haven't even stopped. Leo advanced on her with a mock-menacing expression, his hands spread like claws. It seems I'll have to show you who's boss. Zoe wiped a tear of laughter from the corner of her eye and leaned forward, falling into his chest. Okay then, I'd love to see how you're going to deal with me. Hey, Zoe, you're not playing by the rules. Leo's face instantly turned bright red, his hands frozen in midair, unsure where to put them. Weren't you going to deal with me? Why'd you suddenly chicken out? Zoe was about to continue her verbal assault when Leo suddenly bent his head and captured her lips. MMPH, a small gasp, was all that escaped Zoe before she fell silent, her hands now held firmly in Leo's. The moonlight illuminated the beach, casting their two shadows as one against the sand. As the final wave crashed ashore, Ethan's entire body went rigid. The sound of heavy breathing reached Lily's ears. She opened her eyes and gently kissed his cheek. You worked hard, Ethan. My pleasure. Ethan was just thankful he hadn't passed out. This was, without a doubt, a huge breakthrough. Lily lay quietly in his arms, just watching the man she adored. For some reason, Ethan felt her gaze growing more and more intense, her enchanting eyes seeming to want to melt him completely. Ethan. Just then, Lily leaned in and whispered in his ear. Can I ask you something? What is it? Back then, after dinner, what were you and him talking about? Ethan instantly recalled his conversation with Damien. Should I tell her, or should I keep it a surprise? As he hesitated, he glanced at Lily and saw her hands tightly clutching the fabric of his shirt, as if waiting for something. Just tell her. All those misunderstandings happened because I wasn't honest with her. Ethan wrapped an arm around her back, his gaze earnest as he looked into her eyes. I told your father that I'm going to marry you. When Lily heard those words, she froze completely, as if her entire system had crashed. The only sign of life was the sharp contraction of her pupils, betraying the storm in her heart. Ethan, what? What did you say? Even though she had already eavesdropped on the conversation, hearing the words come directly from Ethan's mouth was still an overwhelming shock. Ethan gently pinched her smooth cheek. I said, I'm going to make Lily Foster my wife. A profound silence fell between them. All Ethan could hear was the frantic, impossibly fast beating of Lily's heart. She was clearly beyond excited. Suddenly, her beautiful pale blue eyes glistened, and then large, fat tears began to stream down her face. They dripped onto the corner of Ethan's mouth. Just as he was wondering what was wrong, Lily wrapped her arms around him, buried her face in his neck, and whispered, Thank you, Ethan. I'm so happy. I've always dreamed of this day, of wearing a wedding dress and standing with you. Hick! Her voice broke with a sob. I'm happy too, Ethan said, gently patting her back. Being able to spend the rest of my life with you is the most worthwhile thing I've done in 2 lifetimes. Ethan. Lily pressed her forehead against his and kissed him with a desperate, all-consuming passion. Ethan naturally responded in kind. The kiss was long, deep, and more heartfelt than any before. He could taste the salt of her tears as they mingled with their kiss. So sweet. The scene shifted. They were at the airport. Mr. Blackwood, a man in a black suit, hurried over as Damien got out of the car. Get everything out of the car. Damien tossed the keys to the man. Right away, sir. Shall we board the plane now? Damien glanced at Lena, whose face was a mask of stoicism. In a bit. Just wait for me here. Lena's hands were clenched at her sides, her gaze fixed on Lily, never wavering. Ethan released Lily's hand. Go on. You should say a proper goodbye to your mom. Okay. Lily nodded and slowly walked over to Lena. Mom. The moment Lena heard her daughter's voice, the dam of sorrow and reluctance she had been holding back burst. She pulled Lily into a tight embrace and began to sob uncontrollably. Sob, Lily, Mommy can't bear to leave you. Lily managed a small, tearful smile. Mom, I'll not miss you at all. Feeling Lily's body tremble with suppressed sobs, a sharp pain shot through Lena's chest, reminding her of the day she had first been separated from her daughter, a wound that had never truly healed. Mom, you'll come back to see me, right? Lily lifted her head, her tear-filled eyes shining with hope. Of course. It will just be for a little while. As soon as Damien takes care of business, we'll come right back for you. Lena reached out to wipe away Lily's tears, but her own continued to fall unabated. It's okay. Lily took a tissue from her pocket and dabbed at her mother's cheeks. No matter what, I'll wait. I'll wait for the day you come back. Ethan watched the tender scene with his arms crossed. Lily finally has her family. It looks like she'll have a few more pillars to support her on her journey through life. Even with a world of reluctance, some things just had to be buried deep in the heart. Damien helped Lena walk slowly toward the terminal, and Lily bounced back to Ethan's side. On the private jet, Damien looked at the listless Lena and tried to comfort her. You know, Lena, a separation like this is just to make the next reunion even better. Didn't you see the look on her face? She's already looking forward to seeing you again. Hearing this, Lena's swollen, red eyes seemed to clear a little. You're right. I can't be like this. Lena clenched her fists, her expression firming with resolve. I promised Lily I would see her again as soon as possible. Feeling her spirits lift, Lena looked at Damien. Thank you. He patted her head. Don't worry, Lena. I'll take care of this mess quickly. Then we can all be together with Lily again. Okay. At the airport, a plane ascended, flying toward the horizon until it was just a speck, then vanished completely. Only then did Lily finally tear her gaze away. Lily. Ethan took her hand, his eyes full of warmth. I know you're sad. When the time is right, I can secretly buy us a couple of tickets to the UK to visit them. No. Lily's rejection was sharp, her clear eyes flashing red for an instant. Realizing her tone, she quickly corrected herself. I mean, we shouldn't disturb them. I heard Mom say they have important things to take care of, and she told me to wait here for them to come back. Is that so? Ethan thought for a moment and nodded. It did seem like they were in a hurry. Otherwise, Lena would never have left so quickly. Yes, exactly. So, Ethan, don't even think about it. It would be bad if something happened. Lily linked her arm with his, smiling benevolently. You'd better be a good boy, Ethan. If I find out you've been secretly buying plane tickets, I wouldn't mind making you disappear for a week or two. A strange chill crept up Ethan's spine. HSS. Weird. Why does my back feel so cold all of a sudden? Must be my imagination. Ethan, Lily tugged on his arm, pouting. Shouldn't we be heading home now? Right. And so, they walked arm in arm toward home, Lily never giving the distant plane another thought. Leo, are they done yet? Zoe Reed sat on a beach blanket, her eyes gleaming as she watched Leo King manning a small grill, cooking skewers for her. Almost. Just a little longer, Zoe. Leo fanned the coals, careful to keep the intense heat away from her. Sizzle. Fat dripped from the meat skewers, hissing on the hot charcoal. The rich aroma of grilled meat filled the air. Seeing Zoe practically vibrating with anticipation, Leo knew she couldn't wait any longer. He picked out the best-looking skewer, drizzled it with sauce, and handed it to the eager girl. Look at you, you little glutton. Go on, eat up. Leo's the best. Zoe took the skewer with both hands, opened her mouth wide, and took a huge bite. As her cheeks puffed in and out, her eyes lit up. Om nom nom. Leo wiped the sweat from his forehead, watching her with a satisfied smile. For some reason, seeing Zoe enjoy herself like this made him feel incredibly happy. Could this be what love feels like? Just as Zoe was devouring her food, a group of girls with toned figures walked over. Hey there, are you making barbecue? It smells amazing. Yeah, it really does. Could you spare a piece for us to try? Zoe blinked, as if she hadn't quite processed what was happening. Sorry, but these skewers are specially made for my girlfriend, Leo said, refusing them flatly as he gestured toward Zoe. But one of the women wouldn't give up. She leaned toward Leo, striking an unnaturally provocative pose. Come on, you know it's hard to get food way out on this part of the beach. Be a nice guy and help us out, pretty please. Faced with such a blatant display, even Leo was momentarily stunned, his brain short-circuiting. Just then, Zoe's mind flashed back to something Lily had told her. Suddenly, her eyes grew dark. No, you can't. You horrible people. Why do you keep pestering my Leo? The half-eaten skewer in her hand dropped to the sand. She grabbed the woman's hand as it reached for the grill, a disturbing smile spreading across her face. "Ma'am, my boyfriend made this specifically for me. You should understand the situation. Otherwise, the coals in that grill get hot enough to leave a mark." The woman immediately snatched her hand back, muttering under her breath, "Psycho." She and her friends quickly walked away. Leo was completely bewildered. That can't be right. Is that really Zoe? Before he could process it, Zoe pushed him down onto the sand. "Zoe, what's wrong?" Zoe held him down, her eyes burning with a strange, possessive desire. "I finally understand what Lily was talking about. So this is what it feels like. Thank you, Lily." The seed that had been planted in her heart had finally, after days of watering, burst through the soil, growing at an unstoppable rate. "Leo, I don't know why, but I feel really unpleasant right now." Leo thought for a moment. She must mean she's angry that someone tried to take her food. "Don't worry, Zoe," Leo said, patting his chest. "See? I protected the barbecue for you. No one gets to eat this but you." Zoe shook her head. "It's not just the barbecue. You're mine too, Leo. Only mine." Zoe glanced at the skewer on the ground without a flicker of remorse. Just a moment ago, in the mind of the foodie Zoe, Leo and food held equal top billing. But after what had just happened, Leo's place in her heart had shot far ahead. Leo scratched his head, completely confused. What's going on? Normally, Zoe would be on the verge of tears, apologizing to Mr. Foodie. Why did she just glance at it and look away? Is this the same Zoe I know? What's wrong, Leo? You don't look so good. Is it because of those women? Zoe tilted her head, a playful glint in her eye as she picked up one of the metal skewers from the grill set. A sharp skewer like this would really hurt. If it poked you in the eye, wouldn't it? No. Leo scrambled to grab her hand, stopping her. "I was just thinking about something, that's all. Let's not talk about it. The food's getting cold. You should eat, Zoe." Hearing this, Zoe's eyes gradually cleared. She clutched her head. "Leo, I feel a little dizzy all of a sudden. It's probably just from being in the sun too long. Sit down, Zoe." Leo helped her sit on the blanket. "Really?" The moment Zoe lay down, the aroma of grilled meat drifted over, carried by the sea breeze straight to her. "Ooh, meat." With that, she grabbed a skewer and stuffed it into her mouth. Seeing this, Leo let out a sigh of relief. This is the real Zoe. That scared the hell out of me. With the weight lifted from his chest, Leo relaxed and lay back on the blanket, enjoying the peaceful seaside atmosphere. He didn't notice that as Zoe ate, she was staring intently at him. The barbecue is delicious, but it's not as delicious as watching Leo eat it. Why? Why you look so delicious, Leo? Click. Finally home. The moment Ethan stepped through the door, he stretched his arms wide. Sleeping in a tent was rough, he had to admit, especially because he couldn't really move around. "Are you not feeling well, Ethan?" Lily walked over to him, concerned. "Oh, no. Ethan did another chest stretch. "I'm just stretching. The tent was so cramped, I feel a little stiff after sleeping." "I see. Well then, let me help you relax." Lily stood behind him, raised her small hands to his shoulders, and began to knead. "Whoa." Ethan flinched instinctively, but when he realized Lily wasn't playing one of her word games, he relaxed. "What's wrong, Ethan? Is there a problem?" No, not at all. Thanks, Lily. You don't have to. It's no trouble at all." For easier access, Lily guided Ethan to the sofa and began a methodical massage. Between the relaxing pressure and the exhaustion from the last few days, Ethan's head began to nod, and he slowly drifted off to sleep. Just as his head was about to loll onto the armrest, Lily's hand shot out and cupped his cheek, gently laying him down on the sofa cushions. She propped her chin on her hand, gazing at his face with utter adoration. "Ethan, I love you so much." After who knows how long, Lily finally pulled her gaze away and leaned down to kiss his forehead. "Ethan, I know, you miss your home, don't you? Your real home." Lily knew everything. During the camping trip, she had seen a peculiar expression on his face, a look of envy. It made sense. To be suddenly thrown into this strange world, it was impossible not to feel a sense of longing. But Ethan buried those feelings deep, as if he didn't want to burden her with his sadness. "You're such a fool, Ethan," Lily whispered, tapping his forehead with her finger. "Always trying to carry everything by yourself. But you're not alone. From now on, you'll have me, and only me." After speaking, she let out a yawn and rubbed her eyes. She gently pushed the other half of their sectional sofa over, joining them together. "Just to keep you from falling off, I'll have to sacrifice myself and sleep here with you." With that, Lily clambered over from the other side, snuggling up close to him until she found a comfortable spot, and then slowly closed her eyes. Beep, beep, beep. An alarm sounded, and in the haze of dream, Lily thought she heard voices. Ah, a woman's sharp cry. What is it, honey? Lily. Lily's hand just moved. What? A man's deep voice, filled with astonishment. I'll go get the doctor. A moment later, the sound of urgent footsteps approached. You said the patient moved? Yes, doctor, a woman said excitedly. I was just adjusting her clothes, and her hand twitched slightly. Let me see. Ma'am, are you sure you didn't imagine it? The patient shows no signs of waking. Impossible. I clearly saw. It's okay, Lena, a man said, holding the woman and comforting her gently. You were probably just seeing things. After all, this has happened a few times before, hasn't it? But let's get some rest, Lena. I believe that day will come. I'll see the doctor out. After the footsteps faded, the woman sat limply on the chair, clutching the girl's hand and sobbing quietly. Doctor, I apologize for that, the man said with an apologetic smile. It's nothing. I see this sort of thing all the time. The family in the next room oversaid their son moved a while back, but it was just their eyes playing tricks on them. It's normal. Who wouldn't want their loved ones to be healthy? On his way back to the room, the man saw a worried-looking woman standing at the door of the adjacent room. Through the small window, he could see a handsome young man lying on the bed. Excuse me, are you the family from next door? The woman suddenly asked as he was about to go back inside. Yes. Is there something I can help you with? I hope you don't mind me asking, but is your child also in a prolonged coma? Yes. My daughter has been frail since she was little, which made her very introverted. One day, she just collapsed at home, and she hasn't woken up since. Oh, my son too, the woman sighed. He was perfectly fine in his dorm room, and then he just collapsed. Don't lose hope. I'm sure there will be a turning point one day. Thank you for your kind words. You too. Back in the room, the woman held the girl's hand, her voice choked with tears. Lily, Mommy misses you. I miss you so much. NGH. Lily slowly opened her eyes and realized Ethan was gone from her side. Before she could call out, Ethan walked out from behind the sofa. You're awake, Lily. Come and eat. We slept so long it's already dark. I made dinner. Lily let out a sigh of relief and sat up on the sofa, stretching her arms out toward him. Carry me, Ethan. You little lazybones. Ethan gave Lily a loving look, then scooped her up and placed her in a chair at the dining table. Dinner was simple, a plate of tomato and scrambled eggs, a side of pan-fried potatoes with bacon, and a bowl of chicken and vegetable soup. Ethan scratched his head, embarrassed. My cooking isn't as good as yours. This is the best I can do. That's not true at all. Lily placed her hands on his cheeks, gazing at him with deep affection. Lily loves it. Good. After seating Ethan next to her, Lily picked up her chopsticks and eagerly placed some food in his bowl. You work hard, Ethan. This is nothing compared to what you do. Watching Lily eat with such relish, a warm smile spread across Ethan's face. Suddenly, Lily took a sip of her soup and made a strange noise. What's wrong, Lily? Did I put too much salt in it? Ethan asked nervously. To his surprise, Lily smacked her lips as if savoring the flavor. My bowl tastes just right, but your bowl is missing something. How can that be? Ethan picked up both bowls and tasted a spoonful from each. There's no difference. They came from the same pot. He. Lily suddenly stood up, walked over to a cabinet, and pulled out a bag of goji berries. Your bowl is missing this. After dinner, they were watching a movie on the sofa when Ethan's phone suddenly rang. Seeing Lily's pout, he could only offer her an apologetic glance before answering. The caller was Leo King. Beep. The moment he answered, Leo's voice boomed through the speaker. Ethan, my man, miss me yet? I'd advise you to act normal. Lily is right next to me. Ahem. Leo cleared his throat. So, Ethan, you said Lily's birth parents found her before you guys left? Yeah, but they're gone now. Is that so? Leo didn't press for details, but he could tell from Ethan's tone that things were generally positive. Zoe and I are still hanging out at the beach. You interested in coming down? Nah, I think I'm going to be busy for a while. Ah, what a shame, Leo said, crossing his legs with an air of pure bliss. It's so carefree and liberating out here by the ocean. Don't get too comfortable. Pride comes before a fall, you know. Puffed. You're just jealous, Ethan. Leo's voice suddenly cut out. Hello, Ethan. After calling his name a couple of times with no response, he hung up. What's with that guy? Just cuts off mid-sentence. Beside him, Lily slowly turned up the movie's volume, a faint smile playing on her lips. Zoe, you finally figured it out. Clatter. The phone fell to the ground, but Leo didn't bother to pick it up. An ice-cold, sharp object was suddenly pressed against his neck. Leo, a familiar voice whispered in his ear, but it was enough to make his hair stand on end. Zoe, is that you? Leo stammered. Zoe didn't answer his question. Who were you talking on the phone just now, Leo? Was it that older woman from before? Older woman? The pressure on his neck increased. What? No, I was just calling Ethan. You can check my call log if you don't believe me. At that, Zoe removed the weapon from his neck, bent down to pick up the phone, and checked. It was just as he'd said. Hee, I was just scaring you, Leo. Zoe handed his phone back and wiggled the weapon in her hand. Leo looked closely. The cold, sharp object from moments ago was just an unopened popsicle. Phew. Zoe, you scare me to death. I thought it was. Leo trailed off, realizing what she'd done, and clutched his chest in relief. It was just a little prank. Zoe smiled, tore open the popsicle wrapper, and with a subtle nudge of her right foot, kicked a thin metal object under the bed. Sasuke. Naruto. On screen, the movie's hero and heroine embraced passionately, their silhouettes etched against the setting sun. Even though Ethan wasn't a huge fan of romance movies, the plot had moved him slightly. Maybe this was the so-called tiger in the heart, sniffing the rose. Lily. Ethan turned to see her reaction, but she was just squinting, a faint smile on her lips. It looked like she was enjoying the film, but for some reason, he felt like she wasn't actually watching it. What is it, Ethan? Lily turned her head and tilted it quizzically. Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. Okay. After Ethan left, Lily's smile vanished. She turned off the movie, stretched lazily, and lay down where Ethan had just been sitting. Sorry, Zoe, this is the only way to keep Leo from bothering us. So you'll have to keep a close eye on him from now on. Try not to let him run loose again, okay? Lily inhaled Ethan's lingering scent and slowly drifted off to sleep. SHHHHH. Ethan stood motionless under the shower head, his mind racing. He was trying to figure out how to plan the perfect wedding for Lily. Ever since he told her his intentions, he felt like he had ants crawling all over him, desperate to stand with her at the altar that very second. Calm down. Can't rush this. Have to prepare everything perfectly. But Ethan pressed a hand against his trembling thigh. Why'd I get so nervous just thinking about marrying her? Woohoo, hi, yes. Lily pressed her ear to the bathroom door, listening to the various noises Ethan was making inside. What is Ethan doing in there? Could he be? No. Bang. The door flew open with such force it nearly sent Ethan tumbling into the bathtub. Lily, he stammered. Is something wrong? Lily advanced on him, letting the spray from the shower soak her pant legs. She walked right up to him, lifted her delicate nose, and sniffed. Just the smell of body wash. Looks like I'm misunderstood. Sorry, Ethan. I misunderstood you. Misunderstood? What did I do? As he said it, he connected the dots with her actions, and his face flushed beet red. He tried to push her out. Lily, this is a huge misunderstanding. Can you please get out first? Just as he was about to push her out, Ethan saw Lily slip through his grasp like a wet bar of soap. Click. Lily locked the bathroom door and whispered in his ear, I'm sorry, Ethan. I've thought about it, and I've decided to let this misunderstanding continue. The shower kept running, hot water streaming uselessly down the drain. After his shower, Ethan stood silently in the kitchen, staring at the water meter. It read, 130 gallons used. He fell into a deep, contemplative silence. Oof. Lily crashed into his back, nuzzling her face against him. What's wrong, Ethan? Why are you just standing here? Thinking about it only made him angrier. He spun around, grabbed Lily's cheeks with both hands, and started squishing and stretching them in circles. Lily gamely went along with it, letting him spin her head in a clockwise motion. But looking at her adorable, squished face, Ethan couldn't help but laugh. He let go and gently booped her on the nose. What am I going to do with you? Lily stood on her tiptoes and pecked him on the corner of his mouth. You're not mad anymore. What else can I do? You're Lily, after all. Hearing that, Lily's heart felt as sweet as honey. She pulled his head down until their foreheads were touching. Ethan, she said, closing her eyes, thank you for always being with me. Silly, isn't that why I came to this world? To be with you, Not just this life, but the next one and the one after that. Always. Okay. Ethan could feel her body trembling slightly as she spoke. He wasn't sure if it was from overwhelming emotion or from fear. He tightened his arms, pulling her roughly into his embrace, and leaned down to kiss her swiftly and deeply. MMPH time seemed to melt away. He didn't pull back until her trembling subsided. Looking at Lily's half-lidded, blissed-out expression, he spoke in a gentle tone. Were you scared, Lily? Why? Lily was silent for a long moment before she finally told him. Because I want to be with you forever. When I think about how we'll eventually grow old and die, I get so scared. I'm so afraid I won't find you in the next life. Do you think I'm being greedy? How could you be? Ethan held her, his eyes locked on hers. I have the same thoughts. but I don't worry about the future. The fact that I appeared out of thin air in your world proves that we're meant to be together. Forever. Ethan. Lily buried her head in his chest, a beautiful curve forming on her lips, her heart overflowing with love. It's getting late. We should go to bed. No, it's still early. When Lily pulled away from his embrace, her eyes had turned a faint shade of pink. The bewitching, soul-stealing gaze she gave him sent a shiver of foreboding down Ethan's spine. Bayou dressed head to toe, in red. Scarlett Vance aimed her fingers like a gun at a punching bag with Damian Blackwood's face taped to it, making a shooting sound with her mouth. Ugh. She tossed the real gun onto the table and flopped down, completely drained of energy. Lena, when are you coming back? I'm so bored here in the UK. Knock, knock, knock. A knock came at the door. Enter. The moment she spoke, a uniformed employee from her club rushed in. Boss, there's a man outside who says he wants to see you. Says he wants to discuss a partnership. See me? Scarlett slammed her hand on the table. I'm in a bad mood right now. Tell him to get lost. Yes, ma'am. I'll send him away. The employee bowed and scraped his way out, closing the door behind him. Seriously? Any stray cat or dog thinks they can partner with me now, Scarlett muttered, her mind flashing back to the moment Damian had kicked her out. Though if it was a partnership to kill that guy, I might consider it. The thought only fueled her anger. She gritted her teeth, got up, and kicked the punching bag. Damian Blackwood, you just wait. One day, I'll take care of you. Oh, who are you planning to take care of? A familiar voice suddenly came from the doorway. Scarlett whipped her head around. Sure enough, the man standing there was Damian Blackwood. Damian, what are you doing here? Nothing much. Just came to discuss a partnership. Damian found a sofa and sat down, completely unfazed by her reaction. Boss, the same employee ran back in, panting. That guy from outside. He just pushed his way in. The boys couldn't stop him. Ugh. Scarlett sighed and waved a dismissive hand at the employee. It's fine. You can go. Yes, ma'am. After the employee left, Scarlett closed the door, picked up the gun from the table, and aimed it at Damian. Where's Lena? Relax. Lena is in a safe place. Damian crossed his legs, looking perfectly at ease. How do I know you're telling the truth? Scarlett clicked off the safety, her face a mask of fury. Dealing with you is exhausting. Damian took a phone from his pocket and tossed it to her. The screen showed Lena. Scarlett snatched the phone and studied it for a moment before snapping. You've imprisoned her again? Would you prefer I let the Ainsworth family find her? What does this have to do with the Ainsworths? Scarlett trailed off as a thought struck her. Don't tell me you're planning to wipe them out. So, you're not as slow as you look. But their family is huge. How could you possibly? Before she could finish, Damian tossed a file onto the table. Who told you have to fight and kill to destroy a family? That's the most inefficient way. In this day and age, you use your brain. Scarlett read the file, her brow furrowed. How did you get this information? A family that large always has a few skeletons in its closet. If you look hard enough, there's nothing you can't find. Damian stood and straightened his clothes. So, are you going to partner with me or not? What can I do? Just dispose of a few people. Fine, Scarlett agreed. But I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for Lena. Don't worry. I'll be sure to invite you to mine and Lena's wedding. Ethan had a strange feeling. Every time he woke up, it felt as if a wicked witch had cast a spell on him in his sleep. Logically, after a full night's rest, he should have felt refreshed. Instead, he felt even more exhausted than the day before, needing to lie in bed for a while just to regain his strength. Could this be the legendary sleep paralysis he'd heard about? Today was no different. When Ethan woke up, he saw Lily beside him, her sleepy eyes already fluttering open. Lily rubbed her eyes and sat up groggily. Their gazes met. Ethan, when Lily saw that he was awake and looking at her, a joyful expression lit up her face. Good morning, Ethan. Morning. HM, you don't look so good, Ethan. Well, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm getting weaker every day. Oh, Lily tilted her head curiously. Why do you think that? Because I've noticed that every morning when I wake up, it feels like my strength has been drained by some strange magic. This never used to happen. A beautiful smirk tugged at Lily's lips, but she expertly concealed it. It's probably because you haven't been exercising, Ethan. HSS, you might have a point. That could be it. Ethan thought for a moment and nodded. He knew his own body best. Well, in that case, I'm going to start working out, starting today. Fired up, Ethan was about to get out of bed and go for a run when Lily suddenly grabbed his wrist. Lily. Ethan looked back at her smiling face, confused. What's up? Where are you going, Ethan? I was just planning to go exercise. And maybe grab some breakfast on the way back. Well, you don't necessarily have to exercise outside, Lily said, pursing her lips seductively. But we don't have any workout equipment at home. If I don't go out, there's nothing for me to do here. Oh, but there's Lily yanked his hand, and before he could react, he was pulled back to the edge of the bed. Lily. Ethan felt a sense of dread. He recognized that look in her eyes. Hiv. Lily let out a charming laugh as her hands clamped down on his wrists like vices. See, Ethan? Problem solved. I can even be your personal trainer and help you out. This isn't a workout. This isn't how you work out at all. Ethan thrashed around, trying to break free from her grip. Suddenly, a handful of goji berries was shoved into his mouth. Before he could spit them out, Lily forced them down. MMPH. Lily, you're taking this too far. Crying? Crying counts toward your workout time. Lily scooped up the goji berries that had fallen on the covers and stuffed them back in his mouth. I'm just helping you unlock your potential, Ethan. You're not unlocking my potential. You're harvesting it. Lily, you should know a certain story. Oh, what story? Lily said, retying her ponytail tighter to keep her hair out of her face. Have you heard of killing the goose that lays the golden eggs? It's about being short-sighted and losing out on future rewards. You get what I'm saying, right? Ooh, Lily feigned a look of sudden understanding and nodded thoughtfully. I'll just have to buy a new goose then. When Ethan finally awoke from his workout, it was already noon. Growl, grumble. His stomach roared with hunger. So hungry. Ethan mumbled, clutching his stomach as he stumbled out of bed. The moment he stepped out of the bedroom, he saw Lily in the kitchen, tasting a spoonful of soup from a pot. Ooh, that smells amazing. A sweet, rich aroma of corn and savory pork ribs wafted into his nostrils, and Ethan's mouth immediately started to water. Hum, Lily hummed a little tune as she put the lid on the pot. When she turned around, her eyes lit up. Ethan, come and eat. I made breakfast. Breakfast? Ethan glanced at the sun high in the sky and shook his head with a resigned sigh. Composing himself, Ethan walked over to her. So, what has our master chef Lily made for us today? He. Lily lifted the lid, and a cloud of steam instantly billowed out. It's corn and rib soup. I just finished it. Smells good, right? Of course. I could smell it all the way from the bedroom. Oh, right. I also bought you some steam buns, and I have a new way of eating them. A new way? What other way is there to eat a steam bun? You'll see. I guarantee you'll never forget it. By the time Ethan came out of the bathroom, Lily was already sitting at the table, her face alight with anticipation. She patted the chair next to her, signaling for him to sit down. Hurry up, Ethan. The soup won't be as good if it gets cold. Ethan quickly sat down. Looking at the bowl in front of him, filled with a piece of corn and several chunks of ribs, his appetite surged. The most important thing was, there were no goji berries in the soup. Well then, time to dig in. Ethan picked up a piece of rib with his chopsticks and was about to put it in his mouth when he noticed Lily staring at him, her gaze unwavering. Right? Lily's the hero here. She should eat first. Here, Lily. Open up. Ethan held the piece of rib to her lips. Thanks, Ethan. Lily smiled and took a bite, chewing delicately, but her eyes never left him. Huh, why isn't she starting her own food? Does she want the corn? Here, Lily, you can have this piece of corn too. Thanks, Ethan. He fed her the corn, but she still had the same expectant look on her face, leaving Ethan completely baffled. Did I not feed her enough? Just as he was puzzling over it, Lily suddenly spoke. Don't you want to try the steam buns, Ethan? The owner said they're really good. The buns? Ethan reached into the basket and took one out, only then realizing that Lily's gaze had been fixed on the buns the whole time. Is there some secret to these buns? Curious, he squeezed one. It was soft and springy, nothing out of the ordinary. Ethan, you're so bad. I see you have a special place in your heart for steamed buns, Lily said suddenly, her tone laced with a teasing quality. Ahem. I just think the baker has great skill to make them so well. Your skills aren't so bad either, Ethan. Ethan nearly choked. He held up the bun. Let's just eat. Eat. He took a bite of the fluffy white bun. Huh. The starchy aroma, a hint of milk, and a satisfying chewiness. The baker was clearly a master. But there was a strange aftertaste. What's wrong, Ethan? Is the bun not good? Unbeknownst to him, Lily had moved to stand behind his chair. No, it's good. It just tastes a little off. Ethan pulled the bun away from his mouth to inspect it. He suddenly realized the part he had bitten into wasn't solid. It was filled to the brim with goji berries. Goji berries? Why are there goji berries in here? It's my secret recipe, Lily's voice whispered in his ear. I see. It all clicked into place. So this was what she had been waiting for. Looking at the dozen or so buns still in the basket, Ethan felt a wave of dread. While Lily kissed him on the cheek. What do you think, Ethan? Isn't it creative? Yes. Very creative. Then, as my beloved, shouldn't you support me? Support you? Then I'll have to ask you to eat the buns, Ethan. It's not a lot. Just 3 per meal. Can I choose not to? That's fine. If you can't finish the bread, you can just eat the filling. Lily glanced from the buns to Ethan and back again. Ethan's resolve crumbled. On second thought, eating 3 buns isn't so bad. Then hurry up and eat. A nutritious breakfast is the most important meal of the day. After the meal, Lily put the remaining buns in the fridge. She turned to see Ethan slumped in his chair and couldn't help but stifle a giggle. Looks like Ethan is full. My culinary skills are getting better and better. When Ethan had finally digested his substantial breakfast, he looked at the time on his phone and sighed. Well, looks like my plans for today are shot. What are you doing? Just then, Lily sat down beside him, leaning her head on his shoulder. Nothing. Just a little stuff from that meal. Hee. What are you hee-ing about? Didn't I tell you to let me know when you go downstairs? I did. And you agreed. Agreed? What did I agree? I said I was going out to buy breakfast. You didn't say anything, which means you tacitly approved, so I went. Eek. Ethan squished and stretched Lily's face between his hands. Ethan, that hurts. Even though he wasn't using much force, the moment he heard her say it hurt, he immediately let go. Seeing Ethan's complicated expression, Lily quickly placed her hand on his and leaned her body against his chest. Ethan's the best. But today, Ethan wasn't giving in so easily. He thought about pushing her away, but settled for turning his face away from her, his expression stony. Ethan. Lily's head followed his, trying to catch his eye, but he dodged her every time. Now Lily started to panic. She knew he was genuinely angry this time. Her playful expression vanished, and she began to tremble. Ethan, I was wrong. Please talk to me, okay? Ethan remained silent, but feeling her tremble made his own heart ache. Still, he had to be firm about her breaking her promise today. Otherwise, he'd be letting her get away with too much. Just then, Lily threw herself into his arms, her voice choked with tears. I'm sorry, Ethan. Please don't ignore me, okay? I won't mess around anymore. I just didn't want to wake you up, so I went downstairs by myself. The moment he heard her voice, Ethan couldn't hold back any longer. He opened his arms and pulled her into a tight hug, resting his chin on her head and comforting her gently. Their love was so deep that when one of them was hurting, the other felt it too, creating a desperate need to soothe their pain. This was love, he supposed, a lifelong bond built on mutual support and companionship. Don't cry, Lily. I was just teasing you. As soon as he spoke, the tears that had been welling in her eyes burst forth like a broken dam, soaking the front of his shirt and making his heart ache even more. He stroked her back, murmuring, how could I ever ignore my adorable Lily? You were just trying to be considerate of me, after all. After a long time, he finally managed to calm her down. Lily lay in his arms, motionless, her hand still clutching the corner of his shirt as if afraid he would leave. Do you hate me, Ethan? She asked in a small voice, her pitiful gaze enough to melt any heart. How could I? Ethan answered immediately. How could I possibly hate you, Lily? Fearing she might still have doubts, he held her even tighter. Her body was so soft, like holding a docile kitten that would just press closer no matter how he held her. Feeling his embrace, Lily let out a sigh of relief. Her gaze shifted away from the other bedroom, and her body finally relaxed. Ethan would never know that if he had said a single wrong word, Lily would have bolted into that bedroom and retrieved the fine equipment she had hidden there to use on him. But that was a last resort, because, while she possessed Ethan's body, what she truly coveted was his heart. This kind of mutual, loving relationship was what truly satisfied her spiritual needs. That's good. Lily buried her face in his neck, secretly inhaling the scent of her beloved. But you can't be so willful anymore, Lily. I can let other things slide, but not this. Ethan laid down the law. After all, you don't like it when I sneak out alone either, right? Lily nodded. I'm sorry, Ethan. I won't make that mistake again. Good. You set yourself. If it happens again. Ethan's expression turned serious as he put on a fearsome look. I'll do what you would do and lock you in the house. Really? Lily sat up straight, her face beaming with anticipation. Crap, I forgot that tactic doesn't work on her. Ethan quickly backtracked. No, that's not what I meant. I meant I'd lock you in the house and go out to have fun by myself. You can't. Lily's face transformed in an instant, from gentle and cute to fierce and terrifying. If you do that, Ethan. Before she could finish, Ethan cut her off. Of course I wouldn't do that, as long as you don't do it first. He had to defuse the Yandere bomb before it went off. Lily pursed her lips and nodded her head. I understand. The bright sun streamed through the window, illuminating Lily's face. She was still so breathtakingly beautiful. Even though he saw her every day, That first glance always managed to steal his breath for a few seconds. Seeing him staring, a smug smile spread across Lily's face. She loved it when he looked at her like that, like an explorer who had just discovered a priceless treasure, and she was that one, unique gem that made his heart race. "Ethan, you are my salvation." Watching her smile, Ethan's heart beat faster. She was the only light in his darkness, the one who had stayed by his side, never leaving. Her unique love had made his lonely, desolate heart beat again. "Lily, you saved me." "Lily, can you go somewhere with me tomorrow?" Ethan asked suddenly, his voice firm with resolve. Of course, anywhere Ethan is, that's where I want to be. In a villa in the UK, a white-haired old man was meditating in his garden. Suddenly, two blonde men stumbled out of the main house, running toward him. "Godfather, there's trouble," one of the men yelled, tripping and falling at the old man's feet, his sweat staining the dark leather of his boots. "Calm yourselves, children. Have you forgotten the rules of the Ainsworth family? No panic. You must be like me. Maintain your elegance. Do you understand? Elegance." The old man showed no emotion, his voice perfectly level. But to the men, this was terrifying. This man was truly frightening. Behind that blank expression was something far more monstrous, and he was looking at them as if they were already dead. Sorry, Godfather. My child. Why are you so tense?" the old man said calmly. He picked up a tissue, wiped his boot clean, and then handed the soiled tissue to the man. His face remained a blank slate. "Would you be so kind as to dispose of this for me?" "Why, yes, Godfather." The man shakily took the tissue and turned to walk away. His companion stood frozen, daring not to move, his eyes fixed on the ground. Bang! A gunshot rang out. A spray of blood splattered across the other man's cheek. He looked down to see the man, with the tissue lying on the ground, his face still frozen in an expression of terror. "See, I told you to maintain your elegance," the Godfather said, gesturing at the body with his pistol before shaking his head in disappointment. "Look at you. Not elegant at all." He turned to the remaining man. "Now, what is the matter? I hope you won't make the same mistake he did." The man struggled to keep his composure. "Godfather, there's been a situation with the family. Our outgoing shipments have all been hit. It seems someone is making a move against us." "Oh." At this, the Godfather's expression slowly darkened, a flicker of interest in his eyes. "It has been a long time since anyone dared to cross the Ainsworth family. How very interesting. Godfather, we found this at the scene." The man produced a photograph. In the picture, a man was looking up directly at a security camera, a faint smile on his face. "Damien Blackwood," the Godfather murmured. "It seems the little lion has grown up and wants to challenge the leader of the pride. A futile effort, like an egg trying to break a stone. But if you want to play, then I shall be happy to play with you." "Damien, are you insane?" Scarlett Vance threw open the door to find Damien sitting casually on her sofa, sipping tea. "Doing this is practically inviting the Ainsworths to come knocking on our door. How can our forces possibly stand against them? Haven't you heard the saying? This world isn't won by fighting and killing. It's won with leverage and connections. What does that mean? Do you really think no one opposes the Ainsworth family's monopoly on power? They're just too afraid to act. But when a potential profit reaches a certain point, they will risk everything for a taste." "Profit? What did you give them?" "They're not interested in my profits. They're interested in..." "But if they could have done that, wouldn't they have done it already?" "Precisely because no one has dared to act, the status quo has remained. But once the first shot is fired, well, that's when the party starts. But this doesn't benefit you at all. I don't want benefits. I want her." Damien took a photo of Lena from his pocket and gently kissed it. "Nothing in this world is worth a single hair on her head. Now, what you need to do is simple." Damien tossed a file onto the table in front of her. Scarlett opened it and saw a list of the Godfather's most trusted lieutenants, complete with their locations and daily routines. "Take out the only woman on this list. Don't worry about the others. There are so many people. Why just her? I will handle the others. But this woman, she's his driver." "His driver? She must be good." "She is." "Very good," Damien said, clearing his throat. "After you deal with her, put on her clothes and get behind the wheel. The target will take the bait." "I understand." Though Scarlett was confused, she agreed. "Then I'll take my leave. The real show is about to begin." Damien stood and brushed off his trousers, preparing to depart. "All right. When this is over, your family can take 30% of the Ainsworth assets. I've already arranged it. I don't need it. I'm doing this for Lena." Watching Damien's retreating back, Scarlett stomped her foot in fury. Who does he think he is? Always with that arrogant look on his face. "Lena is so damn unlucky to be with you." That night, a convoy of black cars converged from all corners of the bustling city, forming a long, orderly line. They snaked up a winding mountain road in perfect, silent unison. As they reached the end of the road, a large gate slowly swung open, and one by one, the cars drove inside. Knock, knock, knock. A gentle knock sounded at a door, followed by a voice with a distinct American accent. Godfather, everyone's here. MMM. A deep voice rumbled from inside. A moment later, the door opened, and the Godfather emerged with a beautiful young woman on his arm. Any passerby from the UK would have gasped, "Oh my God," for it was the famous British actress, Alice May. "Go wait for me in the car, my dear." "Of course, Papa," the woman purred, smiling as she disappeared down the hallway. The Godfather stepped out of the villa and into a large, open courtyard. Lined up were his cars, and beside each door stood two men in suits and hats, holding firearms. Near the back of the line, one of the men glanced curiously at his partner's suit. "What is it?" his partner asked. "Nothing, it's just. Why do you have a red armband on your sleeve? You didn't have that a second ago." "Oh, this? A nun gave it to me when I was at church praying. With all the trouble the family is in, I thought it might bring me God's protection." "Oh, I see. Quiet now. If the Godfather sees us talking, we're done for." "Children." The Godfather walked to the center of the courtyard to address his men. "How long has it been? If I recall correctly, the last person to challenge the Ainsworth family died 10 years ago. By now, the weeds on his grave are taller than the headstone." The men all grinned, as if to say, of course. The Ainsworth family was the most powerful force there was. If some fool wanted to cause trouble, they were happy to put on a show. They were oblivious to the fact that in the shadows behind them, a number of their own had quietly chambered rounds, their right shoulders all marked with a small, red armband. "Now, some foreigner thinks he can take us down. What a joke." The Godfather's smile faded, his face becoming a cold mask. "Tonight, we will show him the true power of the Ainsworth family. Remember, elegance. You must always be elegant. Now go, children. Show them your elegant side." At the Godfather's command, the men got into their cars. A succession of solid thuds echoed through the courtyard as the doors closed.